Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. I become stronger when I signed in at Naruto. Chapter 61. With the blessing of the curse seal, it's just that. Seeing Sasuke sprinting, Chinyu sneered. In the next second, a violent thunder and lightning appeared on his hand. Okay, Sasuke, who was in midair, was taken aback for a moment, then turned to sneer. What a stupid guy, thinking that you can fight this trick with me by secretly learning Chidori. What a stupid. Don't even understand that dry bird is an assault sprint. Look clearly, you are not worthy. Die to me. Soon, the dry birds in the hands of Chinyu and Sasuke, one black and the other blue, collided. Sure enough, at the moment of contact, the black dry bird and the assistant had the upper hand. At this moment, Sasuke's self-confidence bursts like never before. This is my confidence in my proficiency in dry birds. As for the two, it is the confidence in the power of the curse. Sasuke's face was filled with a crazy and morbid look. He seemed to have anticipated what kind of miserable Chinyu would end. However, in the next second, his face changed drastically. Because he discovered that the originally suppressed blue dry bird suddenly exerted its strength. The whole Chidori ninjutsu seemed to have taken a big tonic, and the light was brilliant in an instant. And at that instant, the Chidori in Chinyu's hand had already suppressed the black Chidori in his hand. How, maybe. Sasuke's face was full of incredible expressions. At this moment, Sasuke's heart is broken. He can't understand why this is at all. Obviously he is more familiar with Chidori than Chinyu. Obviously he was the one who started the ninjutsu first. Obviously he still has the power of the curse seal this time. Obviously he sprinted such a long distance. Why? Why would I be suppressed? Why would I be suppressed? Where does Sasuke know, whether it is the understanding of Lei Dun, the control of chakra, or simply comparing the amount of chakra? In these respects, Sasuke is far behind Chinyu. And it is these aspects that will enable Chinyu to crush Sasuke's black Chidori afterwards. Chinyu's hand can be said to be directly treating his body with his own way. With Sasuke's stunned work, Chinyu's Chidori has completely wiped out all the energy of the black Chidori. Moreover, there is even more power. Chinyu shifted his left hand slightly, staggering Sasuke's key points. The Chidori in his hand stabbed at the big wing behind Sasuke obliquely. What? Sasuke let out a miserable cry at that moment. The big wings were pierced, and the blood flow continued. At this moment, Chinyu's turn was dumbfounded. The curse mark of Dashawan is too shit. The big wings formed by the curse-breaking mark turned out to be driven by flesh and blood. Before, he thought that the curse imprinted should be like the tail beast's coat, which is the appearance of chakra. Who would have thought? This thing turned out to be like this. Sasuke's big wing on the left was poked into a big hole, and he wailed in pain, looking miserable and funny. Chinyu shook his head in disgust, raised the sword in his hand and cut off the big wing on his left directly from the root. His sword was so fast that Sasuke had no time to react. When I recovered, the big wing on the left had fallen to the ground. At this time, Sasuke, there is only one thing he can do, and that is to let out a louder wailing. As for Chinyu's doing this for Mao, not for other reasons, just to look good. If Sasuke knew Chinyu's thoughts, he might have had his desire to die. Sasuke was hit hard by Chinyu one after another, and at this time he finally had a bit of forcing. At the same time, he also recognized a reality, that is, his current self is not worthy of starting with Chinyu. Therefore, he tried to flash his only right wing, struggling to fly away. Although there is only one big wing left, his strong desire to survive seems to have given him a lot of strength, and the speed at which he flies away is not slow at all. Chinyu raised his head and looked at Sasuke who was running away. He smiled and said, "It's interesting. But you can still escape from my palm. Funny." Rarely, Chinyu stretched out his hands and immediately began to seal the seal. Guoan enters the hands down. "Give me the town." "Good guy." Chinyu is done directly. Boom. The earth cracked open, and a huge wooden hand suddenly rose from the ground. The wooden hand rose extremely fast, and instantly came into the air, and directly enveloped Sasuke's head. In the palm of the huge wooden palm, there is a huge za that exudes immense light. Nani? Sasuke, who was in the air, was shocked instantly. He had no idea that Chinyu would have such a method. However, the giant hand did not give him any time to react at all. As soon as the giant hand was pressed down, Sasuke felt that his mind was trembling wildly, and he couldn't control his body at all. After 3 seconds, the power that affected his mind finally disappeared. And Sasuke was shocked to discover that he had been forcibly withdrawn from the curse seal state. Sasuke, who had exited the curse seal state, had only left wings behind him, also disappeared. At this time, he could no longer fly into the air again and fell directly to the ground. Under Chinyu's control, although the big wooden hand no longer frightened Sasuke's mind, he kept holding down. Although it didn't directly fall on Sasuke, its palm constantly exuded an extremely powerful force, and it suppressed Sasuke's body fiercely. What? Sasuke's face flushed, gritted his teeth, supported him firmly, and refused to kneel down. Even so, but the Mu-Dun power that Chinyu displayed was too tyrannical. Sasuke's knee was still forced to bend involuntarily. Seeing Sasuke's appearance, Chinyu smiled coldly and said, "Even Dashawan was beaten to death by me. You just got a bullshit curse that he invented, so you think you can do it? Let me kneel down obediently." Chinyu's flat voice fell, and he waved his hand softly, and the pressure of Kuoin entering Xuansu's hand increased again. Bang! This time, Sasuke was completely unable to withstand the extremely powerful pressure, and directly knelt on the ground. And the direction he was facing Konoha. At this moment, endless humiliation and unwillingness hovered in Sasuke's heart. Sasuke bit his lip tightly, biting out blood without knowing it. He just stared at Chinyu fiercely, with strong resentment and anger in his eyes. Chinyu ignored the look in his eyes, but shrugged his shoulders interestingly and said, "Isn't it all right to kneel down just now? It's so many things, really." Puff. Hearing this, Sasuke spit out blood on the spot. This was not only an internal injury suffered by Chinyu's, but also Chinyu's anger. In the next second, the dark pupils in Sasuke's eyes suddenly turned scarlet, and the double-hook jade in his eyes was spinning like a windmill. Immediately afterwards, the powerful stimulus made a large amount of chakra go straight into his eyes. The comma in Sasuke's eyes suddenly grew by 1. Unexpectedly, under Chinyu's provocation, Sasuke directly opened the 3-go jade riding wheel. But even so, this was not enough to pose a threat to Chinyu, not even a trace. Ha ha ha. Sasuke, who suddenly opened the 3-Guyu riding wheel, looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. "Chinyu, have you seen it? Me, Uchiha Sasuke, is a genius. You better kill me now. Otherwise, if I don't die today, I will definitely kill you in the future." Seeing the madman Sasuke in front of him, Chinyu shook his head disdainfully. "Your instrument is far worse than your brother. You are not allowed to mention that fool." When Sasuke heard Chinyu mention Uchiha Itachi, he was even more angry, and another blood spurted out wildly. "No future." Chinyu rolled his eyes directly. After that, he waved his hand casually, and Kuoin entered the hand to respond, letting go of the suppressive force. However, after that, he slapped Sasuke with a backhand. The sturdy power directly added to the injuries suffered by Sasuke. Under the fierce strength, Sasuke flew out quickly, and finally slammed into a big rock before stopping. Ahem. For a long time, Sasuke struggled to get up. Far away, Sasuke gave Chinyu a very complicated look. His eyes were full of resentment, pain, unwillingness, and hidden deep fear. After that, he turned around and left without saying a word. After just walking a few steps, the whole person didn't care about the injuries on his body, and just ran away. And it's like running faster and faster, running faster. Obviously, he didn't dare to delay any longer. He was scared. I was afraid that Chinyu would suddenly change his mind, and then he would be truly tragic. When Sasuke completely disappeared from Chinyu's field of vision, Chinyu didn't stay there anymore. Directly supporting Naruto, a flying thunder god disappeared in place. The next second, the two appeared directly in Hokage's office. Looking down, Naruto's abdomen scratched by the dry bird was about to heal completely. In the Naruto office, seeing that only Chinyu and Naruto returned, the 3 generations couldn't help putting down their pipes. Immediately, he said with regret, "Chinyu, didn't you even bring Sasuke back?" Before Chinyu returned, he seemed to have imagined that the 3 generations of Naruto ape Furision would ask this question. Then he opened his mouth and said, "Nonsense. Naruto and Sasuke fought a battle in the Valley of the End. By the time I arrived, the battle between the two should have been over for a long time. Furthermore, I found traces of a large force's action at the border of the Fire Country. It is estimated that the Oshimaru guy sent someone to respond to Sasuke." The nonsense that Chinyu said was perfect. The truth is that there are only 3 parties involved. Of the 3 parties, one defected, one fainted, and the other was Chinyu himself. The person who passed out didn't know anything. The person who defected, would it be so easy to tell this scandal? Obviously not. Combining the above situation, Chinyu could talk about what happened at the time, and there was no flaw. Sure enough, when Chinyu finished speaking, even the scheming Sarutobi Risen was convinced. In addition, Chinyu had indeed done a lot in this matter, so he was not sure of doubt. After all, using Fei Lei Shen to lead people for super long distance displacement so many times in a row is actually very expensive for chakra, and Sarutobi-san also knows this. Well, don't get angry with 3 generations of old men. Chinyu spread his hands directly and said, "Since Sasuke's heart is no longer in Konoha, there will be no good results if you stay strong. Instead of this, why do you bother?" Hearing this, Tsunade on the side also agreed very much, and said to help, "Chinyu makes sense, sir." Sarutobi Hizen also sighed helplessly. "Oh, now that's the case, it's just that the old man is ashamed of." "Huh, what are you ashamed of?" Tsunade stopped when he saw Sarutobi Hizen suddenly halfway, and asked with some doubts. No. Nothing." Sarutobi slashed for a while and said nothing. After all, the Uchiha clan was destroyed, it was Konoha's high-level instructed Uchiha Itachi. But in this matter, the less people know, the better. Even if Tsunade is her own personal disciple, even if she is about to succeed the 5th generation of Hokage, Sarutobi Hazumi is still not ready to tell her the truth. What's more, there was also Uchiha Chinyu, and this Uchiha clan member was present, and Sarutobi Hitoshi was even more unspeakable. "Tsunade, I have obtained the permission of the daimyo, and the various families of Konoha have also arranged for your succession ceremony to be held in 3 days." The 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi left such a sentence, and then turned and left with a little loneliness. As for the Xiaoqiang who had been brought back by Chinyu from outside the village, they had already been carried to the Konoha hospital. After all, none of them suffered any serious injuries, and Tsunade, the medical master, did not need to personally treat them. As for the old pervert Jiraiya, he had already slipped out of the Hokage office. As for where I went, after thinking about it, I guess which hot spring I went to start my own career. Therefore, in the huge Hokage office, only Tsunade and Chinyu were left. Seeing that only Tsunade was left, Chinyu felt bored, and wanted to bugger. He waved his hand and said to Tsunade, "I also withdrew, goodbye." Seeing that Chinyu was going to bugger, Tsunade Apricot stared and shouted, "Wait a minute." After speaking, he strode to Chinyu, looked at him with a sneer, and said, "Smelly boy, is there still a balance between us?" "Is there? Why don't I remember?" Chinyu pretended to be dumb on the spot. "Don't remember? Do you need my old lady to help you recall your memories?" Tsunade said with a sneer. So, Chinyu suddenly became serious. I saw Chinyu nodded solemnly, and said solemnly, "I think it's necessary to remember memories, but I don't need to help, I just remember them myself." Nani? Tsunade obviously didn't keep up with Chinyu's brain circuit. It was too late to say that it was fast, and Chinyu made an operation exactly the same as he did when he was in Duanshu Street. That was just grabbed it. In an instant, the scene was silent. You can hear even a needle dropped on the ground. After a long time, Tsunade recovered and stared at Chinyu in shock. She obviously didn't expect that she had already arrived at Hokage's office, and the kid in front of her dared to be so presumptuous. "Asshole, smelly kid, die for me." Tsunade furiously clenched his fist and blasted it down from top to bottom. However, before her fist fell, Chinyu had disappeared in place. There is only one sentence left floating in the air. "Anyway, you have to settle the bill sooner or later, then I'll add another sum." Boom. The floor of the Naruto office burst completely under Tsunade's strange power. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. At 10 o'clock in the morning on the third day, Konoha was empty. Countless civilians and ninjas who did not go on a mission, all gathered under the roof of the Naruto office. At this time, people around the Hokage office were full of voices. The reason why everyone gathers here is also very simple. Today is the day when Konoha's fifth generation of Naruto Tsunade is Princess Tsunade. The word Naruto represents Konoha's most noble status and holds the most powerful authority. And Konoha Ninja Village is recognized as the strongest ninja village in the ninja world today. It is the top of the 5 ninja villages. So in other words, the position of Naruto is the hottest and most powerful position in the ninja world. Almost every Konoha ninja once regarded Naruto as his goal and worked tirelessly for it. However, Konoha Ninja has been established for decades, and I don't know how many outstanding ninjas have been produced. However, among so many excellent ninjas, only 4 are qualified to sit in the position of Naruto. However, just today, the long-awaited 5th person is finally about to rise to the top. In the small square, every Konoha citizen had a happy smile on their faces. Some people may say, isn't it the succession of new Naruto? As for being so happy, it seems that Konoha has unified the world of ninja. However, for the people of Konoha, this is definitely Konoha's event. Especially when Tsunade, one of Konoha's 3 ninjas, succeeded to the throne at this time, it is of extraordinary significance to the Konoha people. After the last war, the old 3 generations of Naruto Tobihiro became worse and worse, and they rarely showed up in front of the people. In the past 2 weeks, Konoha's people and the bottom ninjas inevitably panic, feeling that the huge Konoha group of dragons has no head. However, now that Tsunade succeeds to the throne, it is like sending charcoal in the snow. Although Tsunade actually started to exercise his powers as early as a week ago, the news is mainly circulated among high-level ninjas, and ordinary people are not very clear. And it was not until 3 days ago that it was suddenly announced that the 5 generations of Hokage's succession ceremony was going to be held, and people really knew it. You know, Tsunade has a lot of auras, and one is stronger than one. First of all, the granddaughter of the first generation of Naruto Senjuma and the second generation of Naruto Senjuma, this identity is not unrespectable. Secondly, the reputations of Konoha Sannin and the first female ninja in the world of ninja are not small. As long as it is in Konoha, anyone a little bit older has heard of or even witnessed her legend and rise. Even if some people of the younger generation have never heard of it, some elders will spread it to them on the spot. In short, for the people of Konoha, Tsunade, the incoming new Hokage, is absolutely trustworthy. At this time, on the rooftop of the Hokage office, there were 6 figures standing side by side. The 6 figures are Uchiha Chinyu, Tsunade, the 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi, Jiraiya, and 2 consultants. Jiraiya also looked at the humble Shaoren Chinyu at the scene, and asked curiously, "Why are you here?" Chinyu replied slightly uncomfortably, "I still don't want 3 generations of old men and Tsunade to ask me to come, otherwise, wouldn't it be good to play chess at home?" Hearing this, Jiraiya was taken aback, and then the corners of his mouth twitched. Mad, he's cheap, why do you have to ask? Now that it's better, he was shown off. In fact, this kind of complaining is confined to talking to Jiraiya in such a naive way. Chinyu's current reputation in Konoha can be said to be thriving. Although he didn't have any position in him, he was even just a humble endur. However, on this occasion, he stood there with these high-level Konohas, and no one felt anything wrong at all. In the eyes of Konoha's people, and even in the eyes of Konoha's senior leaders, he is already a Konoha senior. And this is the super prestige brought by strength and achievement. Witnessed by countless Konoha people, the 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi took off the fire hat symbolizing Naruto's authority and formally handed it to Tsunade. "Tsunade, Konoha will really leave it to you in the future." Tsunade solemnly took Hokage hat and said solemnly, "Teacher, don't worry." After speaking, Tsunade held up the Hokage hat in his hand. Boom! In an instant, the enthusiasm of the Konoha people was directly detonated and reached its peak. Everyone's face was full of excitement, clamoring for names like Suna-sama, and 5 generations of Hokage. Whoosh! Just when everyone thought the surprise was over, Tsunade waved his hand abruptly, and an anbu landed on the roof in response. Everyone looked up, holding a set of black imperial robes in the hands of that anbu. Moreover, this imperial god robe is obviously different from other imperial god robe. That is on the left cuff of this imperial god robe, embroidered with a circle of flame patterns. Looking at the flame pattern on the cuffs, there is an indescribable sense of dignity at a glance. Seeing this, everyone was suddenly confused. Not only the people in the audience are bewildered, even the 3 generations of Hokage and 2 consultants next to them are also a little confused. Which one is this hole now? When discussing the ritual process before, it seems that this item is not available. Could it be that Tsunade secretly made himself a dress? But Konoha's Hokage dresses are always white, and this black royal robe looks like a... Before everyone understood, Chinyu was looking at this special black imperial robe, and raised his eyebrows slightly. Sure enough, the answer was announced next. I saw Tsunade solemnly take this black robe from Onbi, and unfold it casually. Now, even the people on the square could see the pattern on the left sleeve of the Yushin robe. Tsunade happily pulled Chinyu to the forefront, and then personally put on this special imperial robe for him. Smelly boy, no matter what, you deserve this honor. Tsunade said softly in Chinyu's ear. No matter what Tsunade thinks, people have given Chinyu so much face and honor on this important occasion, and of course Chinyu will not be stage fright. He smiled slightly, and the wind shook the imperial robe behind him, and then said loudly, with me, Chinyu, Konoha will be forever. Boom. As soon as Chinyu said this, the scene of explosion and excitement was once again ignited, and the mood of the Konoha people was immediately pushed to a new climax. In the impression of the older generation, the last person who was not Hokage but wore such clothes was Konoha Beidou. In the eyes of everyone, this half of Hokage's sleeves represents Hokage's recognition and supreme glory. And even the murderous god had never held such a ceremony so publicly. Now, Chinyu has such a privilege at a young age, which shows how rare it is. However, no one felt anything wrong. In the beginning, Konoha was invaded by a powerful enemy. How Chinyu turned the tide by one person and saved Konoha from fire and water, that was witnessed by everyone. Moreover, there have long been rumors among the people that Chinyu was originally the 5 generations of Hokage appointed by the 3 generations of Hokage. I just didn't know for some special reason. Chinyu rejected it later, and then he invited Tsunade back to take the throne. Since people can even be Hokage, what's wrong with half of Hokage's sleeves now? Moreover, Chinyu's current sentence, with me, Chinyu, Konoha will last forever, directly and completely detonated the emotions in the hearts of Konoha's people. The people off the court responded with the warmest response. Chinyu, Chinyu, Konoha is forever, Konoha is forever. On the rooftop, Sarutobi Risen was originally dazed. Because before the event, Tsunade didn't give him any reaction time at all, so he did everything in his own way. Sarutobi Hazumi felt a little uncomfortable at first. However, after carefully thinking about the pros and cons, and then thinking about Chinyu's bold words just now, he suddenly became happy again. In this way, the Pei is just a fictitious name. However, this false name was able to firmly tie this, god of war, to Konoha's chariot. What a cost-effective deal. Naruto standing in the corner, looking at Chinyu who was congratulated by the people, clenched a fist secretly. Chinyu, the recognition I desperately want, you have done it one step ahead of me. However, I will not give up. As for Sakura standing next to Naruto, she seemed a little absent-minded at this time. Seeing that Chinyu has such a reputation that has never been a good relationship with her, her heart is extremely complicated. Even at this time, she can think of Sasuke. If Sasuke had not defected, if I could see Sasuke gain such glory with my own eyes. Just thinking about it like this, Kozakura's eyes turned red. The people next to her were all beaming, but this woman showed such a dead appearance, which was incompatible with the surrounding environment. As for Kakashi, who was in a corner with his good chicken friend Akai, suddenly he was full of emotion. This subordinate of my own is now completely ahead of me. Hey, Kakashi, I'm thinking, next time you meet Chinyu, will he call you Teacher Kakashi, or will you call him Master Chinyu? Akai is such an authentic and simple critic, suddenly perfect interpretation of what is to add fuel to the fire. At this time, Kakashi was very irritable. Hearing what Akai said, he directly shouted in a low voice, "Akai! Shut up!" Kakashi is now full of envy, jealousy and hatred towards Chinyu. In fact, there are many reasons, not just because Chinyu gained supreme glory. Another very important point is that I heard that this kid has extended his magic claws to his generation of female compatriots. What a thing! What's even more exaggerated is that there is a sunset red, and the kid seems not ready to give up. Obviously I am also very handsome. This time, Kakashi felt that for a rare occasion in his life, the intimacy paradise in his hands seemed to be less fragrant. And in a certain corner of the crowd, Hyuga Nishu was also cheerful. For him, who is more utilitarian, he is naturally happy that his future son-in-law is so good. But soon, he felt some pain again. If someone else's family is a damsel, I can do it myself, but I don't want to be a girl. This boy on horseback, I am not enough for one daughter, but both are too much. Just after his indignation was over, his expression became solemn again. Immediately, he felt a little worried. Chinyu is so enchanting, the faster he goes, can his own Hinatien and Huahuo really keep up with him? Thinking of this, Japan Football patted the two daughters on the shoulders and asked, "Hinatien Huahuo, when are you planning to get married with Chinyu?" Get married. We haven't thought about this yet. When the shy Hinata Chalk heard this question, he was completely trapped. Even the always carefree and straightforward character of the fireworks at this time is also a face of confusion. At the same time, she is also a little girl. Furthermore, didn't my father still say a few days ago that Chinyu has a relationship with too many women? Wahuo said embarrassedly. Hey, those are all small problems. It doesn't matter, you know, don't you? Rizu rolled his eyes, interrupted Huahuo's speech, and then said, "Anyway, you only need to understand, for the father, I hope you get married as soon as possible." But we are still young. Hinata retorted weakly. Oh, then consider getting engaged first. The Japanese football team clapped. Both Hinata and Huahuo were dumbfounded for a while, and they could still do this. And Neji Hyuga, who was standing next to him, looked funny and winked at his two younger sisters. Hinata Huahuo, haven't you seen it clearly? Uncle, this is anxious. Hearing this, the corners of Sunfut's mouth twitched, and he yelled at Ningxi angrily, "You shut up." Ningxi was so reprimanded by the Japanese foot that he shrank his neck in fright and didn't dare to speak any more. On the other side of the crowd, Yamanaka Keiichi was also saying something similar to Ino. There are hand beaters and others, and so on, explaining their daughters. It was originally Tsunade's succession ceremony, but now Chinyu has lost a lot of the limelight. However, the effect was unexpectedly good. Konoha, from the ninja to the civilians, was very excited at this moment. Of course, except for an old thing with only one arm and one leg. At this time, hiding in the ground, seeing Tsunade succeeding to the throne, and the enemy, Chinyu's high reputation, he unwillingly beat the wall. Because he saw this scene, he knew that he had completely no relationship with the heart of Naruto. Tuan hid in the nest of his roots, and sighed to the sky. After planning for most of his life, he ended up in the hands of a kid. I hate it. The roots that were once flourishing, after the last cut, now only 3 or 2 kittens are left. As for the old thing Danzo, the subordinates without the roots, the kaleidoscope without the water stopping and the riding wheel eyes, it is destined to be impossible to make any more waves. After Naruto's succession ceremony, Tsunade officially began to lead Konoha. On the side, there were 3 generations of Sarutobi risen assisted, and everything was on the right track. And Zillai also took Naruto to travel and practice. As for the other Xiaoqiangs, they started their mission careers, and their strengths were steadily improving. The easiest thing for Konoha is definitely Chinyu. Facts have proved that forbearance is cool for 10,000 years. Every day, apart from taking a few young wives into captivity, one after another intense stimulating exciting flying chess, there is nothing else. I was really boring, so I went to Konoha to see if I could get a girl again. By the way, I could get some benefits. The whole life is very easy and pleasant. Soon, 3 years passed. On this day, Tsunade suddenly sent Azuki Shion to look for Chinyu. Chinyu, who was forced to come to the Hokage office, protested on the spot and said, I'm just a humble patience. You can't find me for difficult tasks. Seeing Chin-Yu just talked like this as soon as he came in, Tsunade's mouth twitched, and he said angrily, "You kid, you know you were lazy. This time you are called here not because of a task, but because your two old friends are back." "Oh, old friend." Chin-Yu was taken aback for a moment, and then quickly reacted and said, "The big one and the small two are back." "You kid." Tsunade glared at him angrily. After that, he couldn't help but smile directly, "But, it's pretty vivid." At this time, a carefree voice came from outside. "Baga, as soon as I came back, I heard Chin-Yu, you and Granny Tsunade talking ill of me." Then, the door of Hokage's office was pushed open. Then, two people, one old and one young, came in from the door. In fact, there is still a woman in pink clothes, but Chin-Yu automatically ignores it. "Oh, it's really you guys." Chin-Yu smiled. Not surprisingly, Chin-Yu's smile was only exchanged for two white eyes, one old and one young. Several people briefly recounted the past, and then Kakashi also walked in. "Well, it's up to you two to check the results of their cultivation." Tsunade waved his hand and said to Chin-Yu and Kakashi. Naruto and Sakura were surprised at the same time. The corners of Jiraiya's mouth twitched, and the anti-consultation said, "Isn't it, want this kid to check? This is too much, the test result must be, no progress." Or let Kakashi, quote, "Hey, lecherous fairy, what do you mean by this?" Naruto Tihanen's name was not called for nothing, and he immediately protested on the spot, "You look down on me too much. I haven't been in vain for the past 3 years." Jiraiya also helped his forehead on the spot, speechless. Can he not know how many caddies the disciple handed over by himself? Could this be the so-called self-confidence of mystery? If that's the case, then it's a decision. Tsunade waved his hand and made the final decision. However, before leaving, she still helped Naruto and Sakura, imposing a restriction on Chin-Yu. "Hey boy, for the sake of fairness, you are not allowed to use the riding wheel, you are not allowed to use the wood escape, and you are not allowed to use Flying Thunder God." Jiraiya immediately beamed his eyebrows and expressed his support on the spot. "Oh. That's it. Good idea." Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Chin-Yu asked with a question mark on his face, "Are you sure this is fair? You simply let me stand there and let them fight." Tsunade glanced at him sideways and asked, "I said, you won't be afraid anymore, are you?" In the past, I always heard people say that Chin-Yu was born with these few blood inheritances and secret techniques. I didn't believe it at that time. Now it seems that it is really the case. Chin-Yu rolled his eyes on the spot and said, "I said, Lord Hokage of the 5th generation, can your aggressive commanding method be more clumsy?" Who would say such a lack of words? Tsunade didn't get angry either, and asked cheerfully, "So what? Do you dare to take the move?" Chin-Yu curled his lips and said, "If you don't need it, you don't need it. What else do you need to deal with them? Yo, they are all very motivated. If that's the case, let's go. Kakashi, be optimistic about them." Tsunade waved his hand and immediately issued an order to evict the guest. After that, the 4 members of the 7th class, under the leadership of Kakashi, came to the 3rd training ground in a mighty manner. They used to complete the Sharan assessment here. At this time, on the training ground, Chin-Yu and Naruto Sakura stood opposite each other. "If you're ready, let's do it. I will solve you early, so I can go home to catch up." Chin-Yu yawned boredly. You fellow, as always arrogant." Naruto protested dissatisfiedly. "Wait and see, you will look good soon." Kozakura clenched a fist secretly. At first, when she heard that her opponent was Chin-Yu, she was still a little desperate. But later Tsunade limited Chin-Yu's several super powerful methods, and this woman also began to gain confidence. I haven't been in vain in the past 3 years. This guy, he didn't look at me directly when he was in ninja school. This time, I must find it back. Well, Kakashi slapped haha, and then said, "It seems that you are very motivated. Then, let's get started. The rules are the same as before. If you grab those 2 bells from Chin-Yu's hands, even if you are a stunner." When the voice fell, he immediately retreated to the distance. Naruto and Sakura tensed their bodies instantly, rushing towards Chin-Yu, one left and the other right. Seeing this, Chin-Yu also smiled slightly without panic. Bang! The 3 quickly got together, but only one face. Naruto and Sakura fell into a disadvantage in an instant. The attacks of the two were always easily blocked or evaded by Chinyu. However, Chinyu's casual move would make the two of them in a hurry. Tisk tut. Kakashi, who was watching the battle, couldn't help but sighed. Go find Chinyu's physical skill, but it's a bit unwise. This guy, I'm afraid he is better than a Kai now. If you don't have the mentality to kill me, you will never get a bell. Chinyu repelled the two with one move, and said cheerfully. Hateful. Naruto gritted his teeth and said angrily, don't be too proud. I'm going to use a trick. Shadow clone technique. In an instant, dozens of Naruto appeared on the court, and then pounced on Chinyu at the same time. However, Naruto's physical skills are indeed far from Chinyu. Every shadow avatar that jumped on was broken up after a face-to-face. In the blink of an eye, Naruto's shadow clone was wiped out. Huh, who said that only Naruto has a trick? I want to go too. Sakura took advantage of several of Naruto's shadow clones to rush up at the same time, staring at a blind spot of vision, directly leaping high, and punching down from the sky. Daime. Bang. The powerful chakra concentrated on the fist, and the terrifying strange power burst out instantly, and the earth was torn apart. The remaining shadow clones of Naruto were instantly broken up, and the main body was shaken to the point of falling. Skoye. Tien-Han. Naruto was startled, and his eyes were full of surprise when he looked at Sakura. As for Chinyu's figure, it has long since disappeared. Did you fail? Kozakura gritted her teeth. Bang. When the two were looking for Chinyu, there was a sudden applause from the tree. Oh roar, what a good teammate. Chinyu said jokingly. Humph. Kozakura's face suddenly changed, and she whispered softly, look at the move. While speaking, he made a fist with his right hand and slammed his fist against the tree where Chinyu was standing. What a grumpy woman. Chinyu shook his head, and fell to the ground with a backflip. Before he could catch his breath, Sakura was unreasonable and bullied herself again. With a powerful chakra on his right fist, it hit Chinyu's left face. Didn't Tsunade teach you how to beat people but not face? Chinyu said with a curl of his lips. Also, don't be too proud of you. Chinyu said as he squeezed his left fist and met Sakura's fist. Humph. There was a sneer on the corner of Kozakura's mouth, and said in secret, I don't know how to be fearless, dare to punch me. She seemed to have seen Chinyu's tragic situation. Bang. Between the lightning and flint, the two fists slammed together. A strong wind between the two fists immediately rushed outward. However, in the next second, Kozakura's expression instantly solidified. On her face, there was an unbelievable expression on her face. Because she felt a powerful force in Chinyu's fist. This force, weird force. Why are you? What? The next moment, Sakura yelled and flew out. Chinyu calmly retracted his fist, without even moving his feet. At the same time, on the other side, the powerful buzzing sound rang from light to heavy. Chinyu looked back and saw that Naruto were cooking a big blue ball. Moreover, it has come to the final stage. The next second, Naruto shouted loudly. Naruto's body, along with the shadow clone, pushed the big ball and hit Chinyu. Chinyu, try my new trick, Deu Spiral Pill. Chinyu hooked his mouth, shook his head helplessly, and said, you guys are all leftovers from my play. After speaking, Chinyu stretched out a hand casually. Seeing chakra surging in his palm, a big ball took shape in a blink of an eye. Even with only one hand, Chinyu's balls are much faster than Naruto's help with the shadow clone. Comparing the two, there is no need to counterattack at all, the superiority and the inferiority are already separated. Deu Spiral Pill. The two big balls slammed together, and the momentum of this blow was obviously much stronger than the previous strange force punches. Soon, the big jade spiral pill displayed by Naruto showed an obvious decline. Naruto gritted his teeth unwillingly, desperately outputting chakra to stop this decline. However, whether it is chakra's cohesion, control, or understanding of this technique, Chinyu is far better than him. It doesn't take long, it only takes 2 seconds. Naruto was also bounced out, not knowing how many big trees were broken. Hateful. Naruto stood up from the ground staggeringly. I forgot, Chinyu would do this too. However, it is the same Deu Spiral Pill, why can his one suppress me? This guy really has two things. Even Kozakura, who had just become so self-confident, gritted his teeth and said, unexpectedly, he can even use my strange power punches, and he uses them better than me. Tisk tusk, even if you don't use those top-notch methods, this kid is really outrageous. Kakashi, who was watching the battle in the dark, said with a sigh, apparently he was also taken aback by the scenes just now. Although Naruto and Sakura have improved a lot, they are still not rivals at all. At this moment, a voice came from behind Kakashi. Hey, don't be lazy, kid, let's go up and play together. The sound suddenly sounded, startled Kakashi, and turned his head to see. It turned out that Tsunade and Jiraiya were standing side by side behind him. I said, two adults, don't you know that scary people will scare people to death? Kakashi protested loudly. Who makes your defense so bad? Tsunade rolled his eyes, and then said, don't be nonsense, come on. No, no, no. Kakashi shook his head like a rattle, and said in a panic, go and fight Chinyu. I don't want to. I still want to retain some of the dignity of being a teacher, why bother to go up and look for abuse? Pooh, Tsunade spit out angrily, I have no heart at all. This is not a question of anger. Kakashi smiled bitterly, and said helplessly, it is true that the strength of this kid Chinyu is too abnormal. Well, Ji Lai, who has been silent for a long time, also suddenly said, if you don't go, then the third unreleased intimacy of heaven, it seems that you have no fate with you. This guy, while talking, took out a green book of 18 bands from his pocket. Kakashi, who had drooped dead fish eyes and had no energy, opened his eyes as soon as he saw this book. Not only that, but even the breathing became a little short. Jilai also raised his eyebrows and asked, want to do it? Then go. It doesn't matter if you win the fight or not, as long as you go and fight, it will be yours. Moreover, if you can win, every future one, as long as I write it out, I will be the first to give it to you. Jiraiya was holding a small green book in his hand, with a look of trivial-inducing Kakashi. Everyone. Kakashi swallowed hard, his face full of joy. Chinyu heard the conversation among several people clearly. I said. The corners of Chinyu's mouth twitched and said, do you need to do this? I'm on it. Rachel. Before Chinyu finished speaking, Kakashi shouted, raised the thunder knife in his hand, and stabbed Chinyu. Stabbed. Facing Lei Che who stabbed on his face, Chinyu didn't panic at all. I saw that he made a few seals casually, and a powerful thunder light suddenly appeared all over his body. This thunder light is exactly the thunder wave of Lei Dun ninjutsu. Kakashi's most proud ultimate move, Lei Che, was completely blocked by thunder wave. Even the radio waves from Chinyu almost hurt him. It's the father's trick. Seeing Chinyu's thunderous waves, Kakashi's face flashed with a touch of complexity. Unexpectedly, when Lei Dongbo is used in Chinyu's hands, it can have such a momentum. This is far more than his father. At the same time, the 3-go jade in his left eye spun quickly, copying this move. Drink. Chinyu gave a soft drink, and the thunder and lightning all over his body suddenly shone brightly, and the coverage area increased a lot. Kakashi was taken aback and hurriedly flew back and came to Naruto and Sakura. Wow, Teacher Kakashi, why did you make a move? Naruto yelled. Kakashi shrugged, and said helplessly, you can't do it without doing it, the temptation is too great. What the hell? Naruto scratched his head dumbfounded. It's nothing. Kakashi shook his head and said, you only need to know that the three of us, we must try our best to defeat Chinyu. With the help of Teacher Kakashi, we will be able to defeat Chinyu. Naruto was as confident as ever. Don't be so confident. Kakashi stared at Chinyu solemnly, and did not relax because of the crowd. This guy is not so easy to deal with. If you are not careful, it will be the result of group destruction. Humph. Naruto curled his lips. Obviously he thought Kakashi was exaggerating. I don't believe it, he can be one enemy three by himself. Naruto had already rushed towards Chinyu before he finished his words. Naruto. Kakashi hurriedly wanted to stop him, but it was too late. This kid. Kakashi couldn't help but rushed up with Sakura. The three attacked Chinyu from three directions. Naruto is considered the worst of the three in physique, After all, Sakura has a strange power, and Kakashi's physique has always been in the first echelon of Naruto. Coupled with the blessing of writing round eyes, Kakashi's physical skills are not weak at all. For a time, Chinyu's double fists were a little harder than 6 hands. Suddenly, Sakura caught Chinyu's flaw, and a large amount of chakra accumulated in her fist. Attacked from the blind spot and slammed towards Chinyu. However, how did she know that Chinyu, who seemed unsuspecting, suddenly became short at the moment his fist fell on her body? Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Sakura was suddenly shocked, but at this time, it was too late to withdraw his fist. This punch with strange power didn't hit Chinyu, but it hit Naruto's stomach directly. Poor Naruto didn't react at all, and was knocked out by a powerful force. After that, the whole person was directly beaten into a shrimp-like shape, lying straight on the ground. Sakura's punch is much heavier than the finger of sunflower in later generations. Kyuubi in Naruto's stomach was almost fainted by this punch. After hitting this punch, Sakura also opened her mouth wide, and she was completely stunned. Chinyu hooked her mouth and kicked her out with a random kick. Coincidentally, she flew out in the same direction as Naruto. Naruto finally got up from the ground. Her mind was not so clear, she was knocked down again. Kakashi felt bad when Naruto was beaten out, and within 2 seconds, it went from a good 3-on-1 game to a bad 1-on-1 game. This made his pressure multiply immediately. This situation is changing too fast. Kang! Kakashi gritted his teeth, and the short knife behind him was instantly unsheathed. At almost the same time, the Thunder God's sword hung around Chinyu's waist was also unsheathed. Next, the clanging of swords clanged endlessly. As the son of Konoha Whitefang, Kakashi is very good at swordsmanship. However, no matter how good Kakashi's swordsmanship was, it was a lot weaker than Chinyu's open existence. The huge gap between the two cannot be made up by a writer at all. Soon, the short knife in Kakashi's hand was knocked out. Kakashiden was shocked by the time, and Chinyu quickly moved away. Hateful! Naruto clutched his severely injured belly, and said angrily, Chinyu is really cunning. It seems that physique is not working, try ninjutsu. Kakashi said helplessly. At this time, Kakashi's physical skills were suppressed, and he could only choose from the aspect of ninjutsu to see if he could suppress Chinyu and win victory. I saw Kakashi quickly seal, releasing a powerful fireball technique. Seeing the howling fireball, Chinyu smiled slightly. I saw him take a deep breath, and then blew it forward. Wind escape a big breakthrough. A violent wind appeared out of thin air, and the powerful wind directly blew the violent fireball back. Nani? Kakashi was shocked. Obviously he didn't expect to be like this. Feng Mingming is restrained by fire. How can he do this? Water escape water front wall. Kakashi had no choice but to put a defensive ninjutsu to protect the 3 of them. Not bad. Chinyu smiled when he saw this, and then said, you guys also take me. As soon as the voice fell, his hands had begun to seal. Nani? Not good. When Kakashi's writing wheel opened to its maximum power, it was instantly predicted that Chinyu would release a powerful fire escape technique. And this fire escape ninjutsu, by himself, is absolutely unstoppable. In desperation, he could only greet Naruto Uzumaki beside him and said, Naruto, let the wind escape. What? Naruto was stunned for a second when he heard Kakashi's words, and then reacted. Then he hurriedly condensed a spiral pill. At the same time, Kakashi moved his hands, and the speed of Jayan almost broke through his limit. Shui Dun breaking rush. A powerful current appeared out of thin air, impacting on the spiral pill in Naruto's hand. In front of several people, a huge water vortex instantly formed. Compound ninjutsu, the technique of hurricane water vortex. Kakashi gave a soft drink, which is considered to be a name for this ninjutsu. Chinyu raised his eyebrows when he watched Kakashi's ninjutsu. He didn't expect that this compound ninjutsu would come out ahead of schedule by himself. Moreover, this ninjutsu is in cooperation with Naruto. While the rehearsal was in full swing, a communications eagle from Sane flew into Konoha's Skoye. Looking at the powerful vortex formed by the compound ninjutsu performed by the 2 in front of them, Naruto and Sakura were shocked. It was the first time they knew that compound ninjutsu could be so powerful. And this is also the compound ninjutsu where they have relieved this aspect less before, and what they have relieved are all spicy chickens. Boom. Finally, Chinyu's fierce fire extinguished met the hurricane water vortex technique jointly released by Naruto Kakashi. The two tyrannical ninjutsu collided and produced a huge amount of water vapor, which eventually dissipated. However, after the ninjutsu collision ended, Chinyu's face was as relaxed as before. However, Kakashi, who had always been lacking blue, was already out of breath at this time. However, no one knew that Chinyu had already put C in it at this time. The so-called release of water refers to the collection of a small part of the power, but Chinyu has collected a full 4/5 of the power. Shrinking so much, this can no longer be called releasing water, it is no longer an exaggeration to call it releasing the C. Oh yo, Chinyu raised his eyebrows and said encouragingly to Kakashi and Naruto, that's not bad, it can actually stop my arrogance. However, Naruto is obviously not satisfied with this result. Naruto curled his lips in dissatisfaction, and said angrily, what, it's just evenly divided. HMPH. Kakashi rolled his eyes directly at Naruto. Then he said faintly, it would be nice to have equal shares. If I hadn't predicted the power of this trick in advance with the writing wheel, we would have been cooked by now. Chinyu shrugged and said helplessly towards Kakashi, you guys are really annoying to write round eyes. Hey. Kakashi smiled and said jokingly, it's just to bully you now that you can't write round eyes. Oh, is it? Seeing Kakashi's appearance, Chinyu's face suddenly smiled strangely. I saw him stretch out his finger and gently pointed to Kakashi, I can't use the writing wheel, so don't use it. The art of walking in darkness. The powerful chakra burst from his fingers and instantly interfered with Kakashi's sight. Because Chinyu was restricted from writing round eyes, Kakashi had no defense against illusions. Because of this, Kakashi was directly on the spot, losing all his vision instantly, and his eyes were completely dark. Moreover, Rao was able to skillfully use the illusion technique of Sengo Jade to write round eyes, and he couldn't solve this illusion for a while. You know, this dark technique was originally invented by the second generation of Hokage Chinshojian in order to restrain the writing wheel. And the second generation of Naruto Chinshojanma itself is a wizard of Tianzong. During his lifetime, the ninjutsu created has been forbidden, and it can be described as countless. However, there is one thing in common between these kinds of ninjutsu. That is, the various types of ninjutsu created by Senjukuma were created to target the Shilunian almost at the time. For example, his whole body of Haidon is to overcome Uchiha's fire escape ninjutsu. And this dark walking technique just happens to directly deprive Xiaolunyan of vision. As for the shadow avatar technique, it is exactly the same as the entity, but it is to make the writing wheel eye unable to distinguish. The flying thunder god's technique is extremely fast, and it often launches attacks from blind spots, and writing round eyes can't predict it. As for the rebirth of the dirty soil, it is actually just in case. To prevent one day in the future, if the Uchiha clan cannot be suppressed, the first generation will be summoned to suppress everything. Returning to the topic, Kakashi, who was instantly deprived of vision, suddenly staggered. He desperately mobilized his chakra, trying to break through the illusion. However, no matter how he did or broke through, the result was of no avail, and the boundless darkness had already enveloped him. Naruto looked at Kakashi's blindness, and asked in a bluff, what's wrong with you, Kakashi teacher? Hateful. Kakashi frowned, then calmed down and said, Chinyu, this guy used illusion techniques on me, depriving me of my vision. Now, my Shiluanyan has become a decoration. Illusion. Naruto was stunned for a while, and then shouted loudly, it doesn't matter. The lecherous fairy taught me. Ms. Kakashi, don't panic, watch me save you. With that, Tien-Han Naruto put his right hand heavily on Kakashi's shoulder. After that, he transported his chakra and began to import it into Kakashi's body. However, Naruto is still too naive. The second generation of Naruto Chinshojian specifically aimed at the illusion of writing round eyes, coupled with Chinyu himself, how could it be so easy for him to unlock it? You know, even the former Uchiha Senna, it would take a long time to unlock this ninjutsu cast by the second generation of Naruto. Sure enough, reality gave Naruto various slaps. I saw the self-confident Naruto, who had output chakra for a long time, but Kakashi's eyes were still dark. Tai Hanhan scratched his head in embarrassment. This fool. Kozakura, who was on the side, also curled her lips in disgust at this time, and then stretched out a hand on Kakashi's body. From the very beginning, this woman was rated by Kakashi as very talented in illusionism, and she was confident of her level of illusionism. I thought it was a catch, but I didn't expect it to be this time. Nani? Kozakura also didn't solve the illusion, suddenly frowning and wondering, how is it possible? Haha, how can the illusion that the young master casts is so easy to be solved by you? Chin-yu sneered. With a quick finger, Kakashi unlocked Kakashi's dark art. Tisk tisk. Kakashiden, who saw the light again, sighed. Unexpectedly, your illusion skills are so powerful, boy, my teacher seems to be dissatisfied. What? Chihanen's Naruto looked very dissatisfied, and said unconvinced, we obviously haven't lost yet. Well, still have to recognize reality Naruto. Kakashi reluctantly said, we can't solve this illusion. I have already abandoned half of it. With the two of you alone, it is not Chin-yu's opponent at all. Humph. Naruto turned his head arrogantly, agreeing with Kakashi's statement, but he was obviously very unhappy. No need to be like that, losing to Chin-yu is not a shame. Kakashi shrugged, and immediately said, to blame, the opponent that Tsunade-sama selected for you is too abnormal. Besides, the person who should be the most lost, obviously it should be me. My Intimacy Paradise follow-up, quote. Once, I thought I could make a comparison with anyone, at least it was a 50-50 situation, but with Chin-yu, I really couldn't make a 50-50 match. Ah. Poor Kakashi spit out into the air. During the time when a few people complained, Jiraiya and Tsunade also walked out of the woods. Oh, that's all right. Jirai rolled his eyes helplessly, patted Kakashi on the shoulder and said, I promise you that there will be new additions in the future, and they will be sent to you as soon as possible. Nani? Kakashi heard the words, and suddenly came to his spirits. He changed his behavior and stared at Jiraiya's old face, and asked again in disbelief, are you serious? Brilliant. Zilai also shook his head helplessly. Okay, since you lose, then from now on, the command of this team will belong to Chin-yu. Tsunade announced loudly. Nani? Team? What team? Naruto looked dumbfounded. Not to mention Naruto's dumbfounded, even Chin-yu, Sakura, and Kakashi were dumbfounded. From now on, the four of you will form a squad and begin the mission. Tsunade shrugged and announced, that's how it is. What about command authority? Naruto continued to ask. Tsunade smiled silently, and said, if you win, Kakashi will be in command. But unfortunately, if you lose, he will have the command. What the hell? When Naruto heard this, he said with great dissatisfaction, no matter whether the relationship wins or loses, command power has nothing to do with me. Hey genius, you still need to know more about yourself. Chin-yu came over and patted Naruto on the shoulder, and said with earnest words, if you are in charge of command, I'm afraid we will be wiped out easily. Pooh, Naruto spit out fiercely, stop looking down on people. Hey Kakashi, you don't seem to have any opinions about being directed by Boiling. Tsunade couldn't help asking. HMPH, he can't care about this now, so he is still indulging in the joy of intimacy in heaven. Jirai also glanced at Kakashi sideways, then spit out. This is also the reason. Kakashi touched his nose awkwardly, and forcibly explained. Furthermore, Chin-yu is the strongest in the first place, so it's reasonable to let him command. Haha, Chin-yu sneered. Then he turned his head and complained to Tsunade, I'm a humble person. How can I be in charge of command? Then Kakashi. Tsunade waved his hand indifferently. No, I don't want such a troublesome thing. Kakashi also decisively refused. For him, the presence of Chin-yu just happened to be lazy. Naruto said angrily. Tai Hanhan was suddenly upset when the two of them pushed around here as the leader of the team that he wanted but couldn't get. Immediately yelled, neither of you will come to me. What the hell? Kakashi gave Naruto an incredible look. And Chin-yu also pulled the corners of his mouth directly, and said to Kakashi, let's guess the punch. Reliable. Kakashi nodded in agreement on the spot. With that said, the two of them really opened up their posture and prepared to guess the boxer. Bye. Seeing the two quickly changing faces, Naruto scolded angrily. You two, it's too much. Teacher Kakashi, you. All right. Seeing the two people who were really going to guess the boxer in front of him, Tsunade rolled his eyes in public. In order not to make a joke, he immediately made a decision. You two, stop messing around, the captain has appointed Chinyu. Your task now is to. Before Tsunade's words were finished, an Onbi ninja suddenly came to her. Immediately, a secret letter marked with the imprint of 100,000 fire was handed to her. Okay. Tsunade frowned and took it, and immediately opened it and glanced at it. In an instant, her expression changed drastically. Nani, how could this happen? Naruto on the side, seeing Tsunade's face suddenly change, he asked in a daze, Ms. Tsunade, what's the matter? Jilai also frowned and asked, what's the matter? Call. Tsunade exhaled heavily, and then said in a deep voice, an emergency report came from Sandukura village. Their 5th-generation Kazekage was taken away by the organization named Akatsuki. Nani? Naruto was shocked, and then asked anxiously, Gaara, how could this be? That organization, has it finally started? Hearing this, Jilai on the side also squinted. In the past few years, he has been secretly investigating Akatsuki organization. Of all the people present, Chinyu was not surprised at all. After all, Gaara is a human being from Sarawakura, with a tailed beast in his body. Sooner or later, he will be spotted. Tsunade pondered directly on the side for a while, then discussed with Jiraiya, and suddenly made a decision. Now, reissue the task to Chinyu team. With a wave of Tsunade's big hand, he directly ordered Chinyu and the others, get out of the way and help Shahid village in the Kingdom of Wind. Do not. Chinyu spread his hands, with exaggerated expressions on his face. Then he complained very angrily to Tsunade. Such a difficult task, let me do it with a humble mind. The opponent is the vicious Akatsuki organization, I'm very afraid. Hearing this, everyone rolled their eyes almost at the same time. As for Tsunade, he didn't bother to care about him at all. I think, Chinyu alone is enough, right? At this moment, Kakashi, who had been quiet, suddenly asked casually. And in his hand, he flipped through the 3rd volume that he had just brought from Jiraiya without pause. Seeing Kakashi suddenly becoming unreliable, Tsunade glared at him and said angrily, if you force Lili again, my old lady will burn all your inventory. Hearing this, Kakashiden was so shocked by the time that he hurriedly put away his baby. What? At this moment, Naruto, who has always been Tai Hanhan, also grumbled, pity me and the lecherous fairy just came back, even the family. Before he finished speaking, his face was quickly replaced with determination, and he said solemnly, however, it is more urgent to save Gaara. As for Haruno Sakura, does her opinion matter? It's not important at all. As for Chinyu didn't kick her out of the game directly, it was for a reason. That is, I still have a younger brother-in-law, that is, Kanjiro, the painted cat, whose original work should have been poisoned by now. However, it seemed that only the destroyer of the team in front of him could save, so she brought her back. After the decision was made, Tsunade directly waved his big hand and ordered, okay. Let's go as soon as possible. It happens that Tamari has just left Konoha not long ago. If you go faster, you should be able to meet it. What? Chinyu was stunned and asked, when did she go out? Why didn't she tell me? Humph. Tsunade let out a cold snort, then turned to sneer and said, your kid stays at home all day and does bad things. You change waves every day. You will pay attention to this. Seeing that the few people finally stopped beeping, Tsunade immediately waved his hand and said, okay. Just talk less, you guys, let's go. Hey, brat, this action is very important, you cheer me up, don't be lazy. This action, you must save Fengiying that kid back. Before leaving, Tsunade gave Chinyu a special order. Ong Ang, I know it, that's my brother-in-law, can I not save it? Chinyu waved his hand casually. Tsunade was also taken aback when he heard this, as if that was the truth. Now that the relationship is like this, I'm still worried about Wool. Seeing the backs of the few people leaving, Joraji also squinted his eyes, and then said goodbye to Tsunade. Since they have all left, then I have to collect information. This organization is too dangerous. Tsunade nodded when he heard the words, and then went back to Hokage's office. This time, whether it was Tsunade or Jiraiya, the two of them were not worried at all. Even the nine-tailed man Zuli Naruto was not worried at this time. And this time, even Haruno Sakura, who had never been used for eggs, was calm. Because they all thought subconsciously, what danger can there be if Chinyu is there? Chinyu quickly left the training ground with a few people and came to the entrance of the village. The next scene was extremely embarrassing. Chinyu asked a question with a natural expression on his face, but the question was very embarrassing. I said, "You guys, who knows how Cheyenne is going?" In the past few years, Chinyu has been in the Hokage world. The farthest place I ran was probably the Valley of the End and Short Book Street. Isn't Cheyenne just? Tihanan Naruto raised his head in a bluff, and just wanted to pretend to show off, but he didn't know the way, so he could only shut his mouth in embarrassment. It is also difficult for him to expect a Tai Hanhan to recognize the way. Even Kozakura shook her head with a confused look. As for Kakashi, he was completely immersed in the joy of intimacy in heaven. After the captain handed it over, the cargo was completely ready to paddle. Seeing his teammates look like this, Chinyu curled his lips helplessly and said, "I didn't expect to encounter such a tricky situation when I first came out of the village." As soon as he finished speaking, Chinyu thought of a way, and then said to everyone, "In that case, let's throw our shoes." "Throw your shoes?" Kozakura asked with a dazed expression. "What kind of operation is this?" "Yes, just throw the shoes into the sky, and then go in that direction wherever the toe of the shoe is pointing." Sure enough, after listening to Chinyu's introduction, Sakura's mind was full of question marks. Is there any such operation? This method, no matter how you look at it. Naruto also frowned and said intermittently. Sakura looked at Naruto hopefully, hoping that he could quickly say the words, "unreliable," behind. However, in the next second, Naruto's face was abnormally sudden. Randomly said affirmatively, "Very reliable look." Even, while saying, "This product is really taking off his shoes." Naruto. Sakura opened her mouth wide in surprise. Kakashi, who was immersed in the intimate paradise world, couldn't stand it anymore, and had to close the book reluctantly and yelled dissatisfiedly, "You guys, what are you messing around? Cheyenne Village is over there. Didn't you say it earlier?" Chinyu rolled his eyes directly at Kakashi, and then left directly. "Ms. Kakashi, you are getting lazy." Naruto and Sakura vomit in unison. Kakashi, who fell in the end, sighed sadly, and said helplessly, "My teacher is becoming less and less majestic." After finding the right direction, several people moved quickly. In this team led by Chinyu, Kakashi is an elite ninja, Sakura refining physical skills, and Naruto is a nine-tailed person. Not to mention Chinyu, both of them are energetic guys. So in a short period of time, Temari appeared in the vision of a few people. Temari left Konoha with anger. Once a woman gets angry, she won't rush on the road. Every time Temari passes through a town, she stops to turn her grief and anger into appetite. So soon, she was overtaken by Chinyu, who was advancing quickly. Who is it? Hearing the sound of breaking wind behind him, Temari quickly tore off the Samsung fan behind him for defense without turning his head back. However, before she was completely steady, she felt empty. Nani? Temari was suddenly shocked. Since Chinyu snatched the fan a few years ago, she has paid attention to this. So that for a long time, no one could snatch his Samsung fan from her. Why did such a thing happen today? I think it should be a master. Temari made a judgment in his heart, and his body suddenly tightened. Suddenly, a familiar black figure appeared in her vision. Chinyu. Temari's eyes suddenly widened, and the whole person was taken aback for a moment. In the next second, the fan turned slightly in the air and slapped the hip of the kick. Snapped. An extremely crisp sound rang in the air, and the air instantly solidified. The expression of Temari also solidified at this moment. The expressions of Kakashi's trio were also solidified. What? Teju was stunned for a few seconds, and when she fully reacted, and then saw that the person was Chinyu, her eyes suddenly turned red. This fool is usually at home, but now it's the same in the public. And when I left, my expression was different at the time. This idiot didn't even notice it, and he came after me after I ran so far. You know, along the way, how many things I have eaten because of anger and overeating. The whole person is estimated to be fat, I don't know how much. Sometimes, a woman's anger is just a thought, and it gets worse in the end. And a woman is even more an animal of duplicity, just like the Tamari nowadays. Seeing Chin Yu chasing up, although he was very excited, his expression was very calm. I saw that she just looked at Chin Yu coldly, and said lightly, "What are you doing? Isn't it enough to be happy at home?" Upon hearing this, Chin Yu suddenly smiled awkwardly. But who is Chin Yu, a shameless person who picks up girls? There are countless solutions to this kind of thing. Ha ha. He came to Tamari with a flash, and put his arms around her waist in public, and directly tapped her face in full view. What are you doing? Although Tamari is a woman who is more daring to love and hate, she can't help being shy when she acts like this in full view. He hurriedly broke away from Chin Yu's embrace, and then forgot his unhappiness. Quote. The others were speechless and embarrassed. As the saying goes, the dog walks on the road and dog food comes from the sky. Now it is nothing more than that. Tamari immediately remembered the reason why he went out, and a little worried about Gaara's situation. While comforting, Chin Yu hurried along with everyone. A few people walked fast, and it didn't take long for them to reach the border of the country of fire. Ever since crossing the border of the fire country, Chin Yu would stop and touch the ground with his hands for a short period of time. Although Chin Yu knows the plot in the original book, he still remembers the important plot. How can he remember the small details like that kind of side-by-side details? According to the plot of the original book, after both Deidara and the Horns caught Gaara, they did not leave too far. Instead, the two of them came to the country of the river between the country of fire and the country of wind, and proceeded to strip the tail beast. The Kakashi team first crossed the country of fire and the country of rivers, and most of the country of wind, and rushed to Cheyenne village. Then he discovered the location of Akatsuki's organization, and went back to the country of the wind and entered the country of the river, so in the end, only the cold body of Gaara could be seen. But now, everything is different. With Chin Yu, a prophet, who travels through the house, they can rush to the Shao organization base and rescue Gaara. Of course, the exact location was not given in the original work, and Chin Yu didn't know it. However, Kawa no Kuni is so big in total. He believes that, with a perception ability much stronger than that of White Eyes, he will definitely be able to find the base of Akatsuki. Sure enough, it didn't take long for Chin Yu to perceive the familiar chakra, that was Gaara's chakra. Moreover, in his perception, beside my love row chakra, there are also a few unusually large chakras. If nothing else, those are the magic lantern bodies of the Akatsuki members. Chin Yu stopped, and then communicated with Kakashi. In fact, the most important thing is to communicate with Kakashi and Tamari. As for Naruto, this Tai Hanhan can follow the troops. And Sakura ignored her. When Tamari heard that Chin Yu said that he had sensed Gaara's trail, his emotions became agitated for a while, and he immediately hurried away. However, Chin Yu directly hugged him again and said to her, "Be safe and not irritable, everything is mine." Quote. Tamari immediately calmed down, blushing and lowered his head. The corners of Kakashi's mouth twitched, pretending that he hadn't seen the scene of critically hitting a single dog. "You have to eat dog food for this mission. I am a dog too." Even though I thought so, I was talking about something else. "It's you, Chin Yu," I said. "Why you kept walking and touching the ground before, because you were perceiving Gaara's position." When Naruto heard Kakashi say this, he immediately understood. Naruto was excited and said, "Since we already know the location of Gaara, let's leave now. Go and save him." "Wait for Naruto." Kakashi hurriedly stopped him, then said, "Don't be impulsive. Let's discuss the countermeasures first. Even if we have discovered Gaara's location, the order given to us by Tsunade-sama is for us to go directly to Sagakura village and wait for their dispatch." Kozakura looked at the people who were eager to try, and said with a frown. Chin Yu sneered and glanced at Sakura and said lightly, "Commands are dead, and people are alive, understand? Now we ran into it right away. If we don't go to the rescue, we have to rush to Cheyenne and then come back. Is there a brain hole? Furthermore, Xiaoyi is Konoha ninja, when is it their turn to send Sandyuki?" "You," Seeing that Chinyu didn't give face so much, Xiao Sakura was suddenly angry. But thinking of Chinyu's terrifying strength, she still suppressed her anger and said, even if you were right, can we be sure to save Gaara with just a few of us? Facing Sakura's question, Chinyu just sneered. Then you can make sure that we go to Zhaoshan and then come back, Gaara is still alive. Furthermore, you seem to have done something wrong, but I never thought of expecting you to do anything. You, Xiao Sakura was directly gritted her teeth angrily by Chinyu, and said angrily, huh. Just go directly, I'm not afraid. Jaishi. Chinyu nodded in satisfaction, and then waved his commanding hand. In this case, all the staff will pass, and the team will follow me and go straight to the secret base organized by Xiao to rescue Gaara. No problem. Kakashi nodded and said, but, wait a moment. Huh. Chinyu raised his eyebrows. Kakashi smiled, fingers jerked across the corners of his mouth, and quickly key pressed to the ground. Ninfa the art of spiritism. Bang! A white smoke flashed, and the mini-dog Parker appeared. Kakashi took out a map, roughly marked the location, and then explained a few words to Parker. Parker nodded, and then went straight to Cheyenne village. Seeing Kakashi's operation, Chinyu shrugged and said nothing. The few people didn't hesitate anymore and set off directly to the secret base of the Akatsuki organization. Just after leaving, Chinyu suddenly thought of something, and the corner of his mouth suddenly twitched. Immediately, the body's perception directly increased to the highest perception state. Immediately, Chinyu found a Nepenthes lurking nearby. Just after Chinyu and the others left, a huge Nepenthes appeared on the tree trunks above the place where they had stayed before. In Nepenthes, there is a yin and yang man, with half black and half white, which is the most hidden, peerless old yin ratio in the entire ninja world, Ju. The most amazing thing about this guy is that even if you are alone, you will never be bored. After all, this is a man who can chat with self and self. Heiju looked at the direction where everyone was leaving, and said with a gloomy expression, this time it's troublesome, these Konoha ninjas come so fast. But Baiju squinted his eyes, and then said, that kid, such a powerful method, we have blessed a few more seals so far away, he can still perceive our position. You have to send the news to the body as soon as possible, so that the organization sends someone to stop it. Heiju said in a deep voice. At this moment, a dazzling white light suddenly lost from a distance. Nani? Ju's eyes widened suddenly, but there was no time to react. The extremely sharp Thor's sword directly passed through the chest on the side of the confession. In the next instant, Chinyu's figure appeared directly on top of Ju's head. Ha ha! Chinyu hooked the corner of his mouth and stepped on Ju's head without hesitation. Little devil, there are really two things that you can find me. How did you do it? Definitely being stepped on by Chinyu's foot, the whole person was flattened down, but he didn't panic. Does the dying person need to know this? Chinyu said with a sneer. Ha ha ha. He smiled abnormally and said, do you think that you will eat me? As soon as the voice fell, his entire body began to deform. Immediately transformed into a mass of white matter, wrapping Chinyu's body. After transforming, Juju instantly displayed the spore technique, directly enclosing Chinyu's body completely. It seemed that Chinyu stepped directly on his face just now, which gave him a big chance. Ju looked at Chinyu and said with a sneer, what a delicious and powerful chakra, kid, I will accept your chakra. As the words of Ju fell, Chinyu felt that the chakra in his body had begun to be extracted by the white matter. How is it, boy, how do you feel? Ju Yin said with a cold smile. Obviously, he was confident in his technique. Moreover, the sticking effect of his technique is extremely strong, and it is difficult for opponents to resist. If you want to break free, you have to use ninjutsu to beat him. But he is attached to his opponent, hitting him is equal to hitting himself. Kakashi, who came from afar, saw this scene as soon as they arrived. Chinyu. Temari was taken aback and yelled on the spot, and he was about to rush forward. Calm down. Kakashi snorted softly. Kozakura pulled the arm of the Temari, and then persuaded, don't worry, that guy is not so easy to deal with. Moreover, these years, those who dare to restrain him usually have no good end. Quote. Temari suddenly calmed down. Looking at Chinyu in the field again, he found that he did not panic at all, he was still as calm as before. In the next second, Chinyu hooked the corner of his mouth slightly. Stabbed. The powerful thunder and lightning radiated from every pore of his body. Thunder and lightning directly hit Ju's body attached to his body. The corners of Temari's mouth twitched, and Sakura was right. On the contrary, the people who tied Chinyu had no good end. Nani. Suddenly, he was shocked. He never expected Chinyu to have this kind of ninjutsu that could be emitted from the inside of his body. However, the things that shocked him were not over yet. The black-clothed boy in front of him suddenly smiled coldly, and said, "Hey, ugly, you seem to suck very well just now. Now, give it back to me." At this moment, definitely on Chinyu's body, he felt an extremely powerful and familiar suction. Nani. This time, Ju's shock was more exaggerated than ever. It turned out to be Mudun. How could you be Mudun? The previous excavation was desperately trying to attach to Chinyu's body. But at this moment, he desperately wanted to escape from Chinyu. However, Chinyu's wood escape power is the same as the legendary dry hand pillar, and it is the same purest wood escape power. How can this, castration cast version, Mudunti be able to resist? In the end, it was over. The chakra in the body was directly and forcibly drawn by Chinyu, and there was no consciousness left, only a pile of cold white objects scattered on the ground. After the battle was over, several people embarked on the journey again. At the same time, Akatsuki opened his eyes in shock in the secret base of the organization. Okay. Tien Dao frowned and asked, "What's the matter? Is there any discovery?" "Yes, I found a team of Konoha ninjas, fast approaching our base. It's already less than 30 kilometers away," Ju Shen said. Hearing this, Tien Dao felt a little unbelievable, and immediately asked, "Why did they find our position in such a short time? Are you sure they are coming for us?" "Absolutely," he replied helplessly. "I'm pretty sure, they came at us, and my furthest clone was directly killed by." "Okay." Tien Dao suddenly shuddered, and said, "Can you find your trace? It seems that there is a very tricky guy among them." "Humph." Guiyu grinned and looked at Ju sarcastically and said, "Ju has such a weak combat power. It's not strange to be killed by you." Definitely a little angry. "Okay." Seeing infighting, Tien Dao hurriedly stopped. "Since there is a chasing army, in order to ensure that the tail beast extraction task is foolproof, we must send someone to stop it. Use that technique." Hearing the leader mentioned that technique, the scorpion suddenly reacted. Obviously he knew what the request was, and he immediately protested with some dissatisfaction. "Those two people are my subordinates. Understand, now, one tail hasn't been drawn out, even half of it." Tien Dao said coldly. "Humph." Scorpion snorted directly, then stopped talking. "Pain, as a leader, is quite majestic in the organization of Akatsuki. Every guy in Akatsuki's organization is an unruly and rebellious generation, who will not obey anyone. Even so, everyone obeyed Pain almost 100%. Pain looked around for a week, and when he saw that no one raised any objections, he told him, "Ghost, it looks like you are very energetic. If that's the case, let it be blocked by you and Itachi." The person who came this time was Konoha Ninja. "You happened to be in Konoha's hand last time. This time I will give you the opportunity to save face first." "Absolutely, tell them who the person is." Zhu Wenyan nodded and introduced. "A total of 5 people have come. One of them is a female ninja of Cheyenne, who seems to be this Feng Ying's sister. As for the remaining 4, they are Konoha's copy of the ninja Hagi Kakashi, and the ninja Jori, and there is a negligible female ninja." Quote. "Is there another one?" "Absolutely, are you ignorant of numbers?" Ghost Shark suddenly laughed a little weirdly and said, "But it doesn't matter. Since you said it at the end, it means that it must be a small character with no strength, and Itachi and I can totally." However, before he could finish his arrogant words, Ju would have spoken again. "Hehe, I'm afraid the trickiest thing is precisely this last one. This last ninja seems to be called Chinyu, right? It was a bit far away before, so I didn't catch it." The moment he heard the words, the arrogant words of the ghost shark came to an abrupt end. Immediately afterwards, the ghost shark's face twitched frantically, causing the illusion of the magic lantern body to become somewhat uncertain. "Chinyu, is it Uchiha Chinyu?" Itachi, who had been silent for a while, suddenly asked. Uchiha Itachi, who had always been calm, had a hint of surprise in his tone at this moment. It seems to be the name. Ju frowned and said, not sure when I saw it. Itachi couldn't help asking, what are his characteristics? After thinking about it for a while, he curled his lips and said, the characteristic is that people are cheap and conceited at the same time. Okay. Hearing the absolute description, Uchiha Itachi's eyes narrowed for an instant, and then he continued to ask, where is he dressed? That guy is not old, he is wearing a black imperial robe, and he is carrying a sword. That sword is full of thunder and lightning. Ju squinted his eyes, carefully recalling the news from the clone. Hearing this description, Itachi was already certain, and that person was really him, Uchiha Chinyu. At this time, the ghost shark is already Uchiha Chinyu, and his voice trembles for a moment. It turned out to be him, and Konoha sent him. Hehe, who exactly is this Chinyu? How could I make the persimmon ghost shark fearless like this? Deidara asked carelessly. Even so, the irony in the words is still very obvious. Uchiha Chinyu. This name is so familiar. The icy voice of the red sand scorpion on the side came out from Fei Liuhu. I remembered, 3 years ago, Itachi and Guiyu went to Konoha. Did they fight with this person? Hearing what Scorpion said, Angle also remembered what happened 3 years ago. I have the impression that you said that. At that time, the ghost shark's arm seemed to be chopped off by this person, and then I took it again with a grievance. As Akatsuki's financial management master and hands-over sewing master, this guy has done a lot of magic things. In the original work, the wounds were sutured for Deidara and Fei with the use of grievances. However, in this world, there is one more ghost among his wounded. Oh roar! Deidara screamed in excitement, and then said, so it's that guy. So speaking, he is still the enemy of the organization. 3 years ago, I wanted to go to Konoha to find him. Since he can defeat Itachi, if I can defeat him, I will definitely prove my art. Only you. Guiyu was very dissatisfied with Deidara's arrogant declaration. He glanced directly at Deidara with disdain, and said, that person can't beat you with one hand. When Deidara heard the words, he furiously said, you fart. You dare to look down upon me. Don't compare me to a loser like you. Because of Chinyu's name, shall organize the base again into a quarrel. The corners of Tien Dao's mouth twitched unconsciously again, and instantly felt very tired. At this moment, Zhao Du suddenly said, I was very interested in this person, thinking that such a guy must be worth a good price. But I didn't expect that there is no reward for him on the black market. I remember too. Ju suddenly interrupted and said, after Itachi and Guiyu returned in a big defeat, the leader was furious and sent me to investigate this person. No matter what, in 3 years, he was almost completely gone. He never showed up in the shinobi world. I almost forgot about this person later. No trace. Never show up. Zhao Du's face suddenly became a little gloomy, and then he said in a deep voice, no wonder there is no reward for him. Is there something wrong with Konoha's head? Don't use such a powerful person. As long as he comes out for activities, he can also have a good price. What a fool. At this time, Tiandao had a different idea, and said lightly, could it be that Konoha is hiding him as a secret weapon? This is unclear, Uchiha Itachi answered, but what is certain is that after another 3 years, his strength must be more terrifying than before. At this time, Pain finally realized the seriousness of the matter. For a moment, he looked at the dried persimmon ghost shark with cold eyes and said, since the opponent is so strong, then we have to send someone to stop it, otherwise, let him intrude, and the trouble will be great. Seeing the boss looking at him, the ghost shark shook his head like a rattle, and said in a flustered manner, leader, you can find someone else, anyway, I won't go, resolutely don't go. Quote. Tien Dao glanced at him coldly, with a deep dissatisfaction and a hint of surprise in his eyes. Oni Shark was introduced by Uchiha Madara, and he knew a lot of secrets, so it was the absolute core of Akatsuki's organization. The ghost shark has always been loyal, but this time it was uncharacteristically. As if feeling that there was no reason for his refusal, Guiyu added, since the last time I escaped from Konoha, I vowed never to step into Konoha again, and never want to fight with that person again. Quote. Ha ha ha. Deidara sneered so much when he saw the ghost shark, and immediately laughed presumptuously. Is this the Wuin 7 ninja swordsman? It's really funny enough. Oh Deidara, it's all an organization, don't talk like that. The arrogant face segment like Deidara suddenly began to persuade him to make peace. However, before everyone could react, he immediately said, after all, he lost his mackerel muscle and had his arm chopped off. It is understandable for some psychological shadows. Ha 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 ha. Asshole. The ghost has never been a good-tempered person, and he is directly furious on the spot. You guys, if you haven't fought against that person, you don't even know how scary he is. That person, whether it's chakra volume, ninjutsu, illusion or physique, is absolutely top-notch. He also masters the unpredictable time and space ninjutsu. Fight against him, and you will find that he is like a bottomless pit, always has a hole card. You can never see his depth. For all his horrors, although it has been 3 years, but thinking about it now, I still feel lingering in my heart. The ghost talked a lot, every word came from the heart. However, all the members of Akatsuki's organization were rebellious, and he couldn't hear what he said. For a time, ridicule was endless. Gia, it's a real laugh. When did our Shao organization come out of such a greedy and fearful generation? After being chopped off an arm, I was really shocked. It's almost going to blow that Chin Yu's thing to the sky. Why can't he go to the sky if he is so awesome? Chapter 71. Listen to him. It seems that the organizers will be suppressed by the kid's hand as soon as they swarm up. Why do this kind of people stay in the organization? Listening to everyone's ridicule, Guiyu felt like crying without tears for the first time. The baby feels bitter, but there is nothing for the baby to say. At this time, some grievances arose in the ghost's heart, and then he glanced at his partner Uchiha Itachi next to him. He knew that only Itachi, who had also played against Chin Yu, could understand him. Guiyu originally thought that Itachi would open his mouth to support what he said just now, to prove to the members who were also Shao Chin Yu how terrifying. However, he was destined to be disappointed. After Itachi had just said a few words to Pain, he closed his eyes and said nothing. Guiyu didn't know that for Uchiha Itachi as an undercover agent, he wished that all these goods around him would underestimate Chin Yu. Then they went to look for Chin Yu one by one, and were killed one by one in the end, and the ninja world became clean. So, at this time, how could he speak? On the other side, Tiandao looked at the completely messed up situation and snorted heavily. Give me a bit. What Guiyu said also has his reason. The opponent must be a difficult guy. Don't take it lightly. Quote. When everyone heard the words, they all responded sparsely, but they did not continue to quarrel. After all, the way of heaven is the boss, and the boss's face is still to be given. After disappearing for a while, Dita shouted directly, Boss, since the ghost shark dare not go, let me go. I will definitely kill the Konoha kid for the organization. After Tiandao glanced at Deidara, he said in a deep voice, you should save the time. You have already broken one arm. None of us are entities. After stripping off the tail beast, we retreated. Only you and the scorpion have to confront the enemy head-on. Now it's better to recharge your energy. That's right. After hearing the words, Deidara thought about it, and felt that what God said was reasonable, so he didn't refute it. The restless Feijuan volunteered and shouted, then let me go. I must send all those guys to see Lord Cthulhu. Inappropriate. Tien Dao frowned directly and looked at the ghost shark again and said, that technique can be divided into 30% of the chakras. The more people with a large amount of chakras use it, the better the effect. Ghost shark, you still let's take a trip with Itachi. Hearing that he was named again, Guiyu's face became stiff, and he refused again, leader, I. Enough. When Tiandao heard the ghost shark still wanting to refuse, he immediately interrupted sharply, it is for you to stop it with the technique of turning around. It is not the original body. What danger can there be? What are you afraid of? What, do you want me as the leader to go in person? Sure enough, a word awakened the dreamer. The corners of the ghost's mouth twitched suddenly, and he secretly said in his heart, mad, that's right. It's not the main body past, there is no danger, what happened to me? I'm afraid that this person is so scared. Tien Dao looked at the ghost shark coldly again, and asked, are there any questions? At this time, the ghost shark was completely honest, and the whole person directly replied, no. Hell Shark finally stopped forcing Lili. Tiandao nodded and said, I will perform the operation and send you over. Remember, don't try hard, your task is not to wipe out the enemy, but to delay as much as possible. Yes, Itachi and Ghost Shark responded at the same time. Everyone, pay attention. Give me an increase in the output of chakras, and strip out one tail at the fastest speed. Outside, the 5-person team led by Chinyu was advancing at great speed. 30 kilometers, this distance is not too far for a ninja. Especially these 5 people now have their own development in physical skills, so they rush faster. They didn't stop for almost a moment, and quickly rushed in for 20 kilometers. Temari and Naruto's faces are getting more and more excited, and they both think that Gaara will be rescued soon. At this moment, on the road in front of several people, 2 figures in Xiaopao suddenly appeared. 2 silhouettes, one tall and one short, stood side by side, staring solemnly at the 5 people rushing towards them. As the enemy's blocking force, Kakashi narrowed his eyes slightly, and his body instantly tightened. Meeting again, Itachi Uchiha, and dried persimmon Ghost Shark. Seeing these 2 people appear, Kakashi, Sakura, and Temari were on alert for an instant, and the 3 looked at them with solemn expressions. As for Tai Hanhan's Naruto, he didn't have the slightest compelling count, he just shouted with glowing eyes, take Gaara's, and die for me. After speaking, he was about to rush forward, but was stopped by Kakashi. Looking at the Itachi and Guiyu on the opposite side, Chinyu smiled at them. Then he said sincerely, it's the 2 of you again, why can't you think about it, and have to come to me to find death? Shark face, your arms don't want it anymore. Such Sao Dan's words, coupled with that sincere tone, shouldn't be too lethal. Listening to Chinyu's words like Sao Dan, Uchiha Itachi pulled the corners of his mouth, but he didn't say anything. As for the Ghost Shark, he slandered in his heart, you step on the horse when I want to come. Isn't this forced to be impossible? Although I thought so in my heart, it was completely different on the surface. I saw the man who was more than 2 meters tall, suddenly showing an almost flattering expression to Chinyu. Then he talked in a good voice and said, then what, let's talk about it, how bad the fight is, you see, should we just chat like this? Hearing the good voice of the Ghost Shark, the corners of Itachi's mouth twitched again after finally stopping twitching. The militant next to him would say something like this one day. Not good at fighting, can you make a face when you step on a horse? Of course, Itachi hopes that Chinyu and the others will arrive as soon as possible, so they will shoot directly. Taking advantage of the opportunity to speak, his fingers stretched forward slightly towards Naruto. Okay, Naruto, who had been caressed by Caucasian, suddenly frowned. Dare to rush over, die to me. Naruto casually rubbed out a spiral pill, and it outputted to the air. Chinyu saw Uchiha Itachi's small movements, and suddenly sneered, just because you want to stand in front of me. Chinyu also stretched out his finger to point forward, exactly the same as Uchiha Itachi's previous actions. Itachi felt wrong instinctively, but couldn't tell what was wrong. But in the next second, he understood. Because the Ghost Shark beside him suddenly pulled out the big knife behind him and slashed straight at his head. The Ghost Shark lost the shark muscle in Konoha last time, but after all, he is a misty swordsman who is good at swordsmanship. In desperation, he had to find another ordinary knife as a weapon. Although this big knife doesn't have special functions like the 7 big swords, it definitely cuts iron like mud. Now, this big knife slashed straight at the teammates around him. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Itachi was shocked for an instant, and then said in surprise, it's an illusion. However, his combat literacy was extremely high, and his reaction speed was extremely fast. In an instant he found a kunai and went to the shelf. This is almost his knee-jerk reaction. However, halfway through the action, he suddenly reacted. Isn't this my real body, why am I such an active defense? If you get chopped by a ghost, you'd better chop me to death. In this case, people like Chinyu can hurry away. But after another thought, I felt that this was not enough. Even if the water was to be released, it should not be too obvious. Thinking of this, the strength and speed in his hands were obviously weakened. Kang! The big knife in the hands of the Ghost Shark collided with the kunai in the hands of Itachi. In an instant, Kuwu in Itachi's hand was knocked out. However, After such a hindrance, the broadsword deviated slightly from its original trajectory. It didn't cut Itachi's head, but scratched his arm. The blood slammed Gui Xiao's face directly. Outside, the ghost shark with a blood on his face suddenly broke free from the illusion. Looking at Uchiha Itachi, who was injured in front of him, and then at the bloody knife in his hand, he was shocked. Itachi. Uchiha Itachi also secretly frowned as he watched the ghost shark break free from the illusion. How come you got rid of the illusion so quickly? I also expect him to cut me a few more times. By the way, I must have cast too many illusions when I practiced against him, which caused his illusion resistance to be a bit high. Uchiha Itachi frowned suddenly. He was actually in pain, but it was different in the eyes of ghosts. The ghost who accidentally injured his teammate was very embarrassed. Now seeing Uchiha Itachi's expression, he is even more regretful. Itachi, I'm so embarrassed, I don't know how. Are you okay? Is it serious? Blame me. This is the first time this straightforward man has spoken so stutteringly. Looking at the appearance of the ghost shark, Itachi also said indifferently as always, it's a bit serious, it hurts the arm, it will affect the Jian, I am afraid it will be more difficult to release ninjutsu. Ah, this. Ghost shark was startled, and even more reproachfully said, blame me, blame me. Qin Yu's perception is very strong, even if they are far apart, he can hear the conversation between the two very clearly. Seeing that the ghost shark was stunned by Weasel, Qin Yu's mouth twitched slightly. Even he, the king of Sao operations, had to admire Itachi's operations. I simply don't know how many eagles are left with a single stone. First, he gave himself a reason for not working hard, and secondly, he felt a wave of guilt from the ghost shark, and finally saved a lot of time for the rescue team led by Qin Yu. The most important thing is to throw the poorly blocking pot to the ghost shark. With their strength, it would have been impossible to delay too long, and now it will not be too long. Returning to the Akatsuki organization will definitely be punished. But this time it's okay, all the pots and ghosts must be honestly resisted. Even with Guiyu's upright character, he might even take the initiative to resist. Injury a teammate by mistake, but it can't be washed away. Here, with the help of Kakashi and Sakura, Naruto finally broke free of Itachi's illusion. As soon as Tihon and Naruto broke free from the illusion, the whole person yelled in dissatisfaction, it's this illusion again. Fortunately, the lecherous fairy taught me how to crack the illusion. The guy yelled and looked across. Looking at the blood on Itachi, Naruto wiped it off, and then said confidently, humph. Fortunately, my spiral pill also caused him harm. Kakashi and Sakura on the side heard the words, and the corners of their mouths twitched unconsciously. In Temari, he held his forehead speechlessly with his hands, and had nothing to say. Kakashi is directly defamatory. I rub, Naruto is too amazing. Even if you can't tell the difference between the middle and the illusion, don't even tell the knife wound and the spiral pill wound. Sir Jiraiya, are you sure you have taught Naruto well? Among the three, only Sakura had a grumpy personality, and directly yelled at Naruto, stupid Naruto. You have been illusioned from the beginning. Your Helix Maru hit the air completely. What? Naruto scratched his head awkwardly when Sakura yelled like this. With an unbelievable expression on his face, he said awkwardly, have I been illusioned since then? However, after the embarrassment passed, Tihon and Naruto immediately cursed angrily, those who play illusion are really sinister. Even Qin Yu, who had been ignoring him, suddenly twitched the corners of his mouth. Kakashi, who had been speechless once, also twitched the corners of his mouth again. After all, this guy would occasionally use illusion skills. The two girls, Temari and Sakura, wanted to laugh and endure as much as possible. Huh, what's the matter with you? Naruto was worthy of the name Tai Hanhan, looking at everyone like this, scratching his head in doubt. By the way, didn't I hurt that guy's arm? How did he get hurt? Puff ha ha ha. Hearing this, Temari couldn't help it at all, and just burst into laughter. Sakura tried to resist the laugh, and explained with difficulty, it was Qin Yu who used illusion on the shark's face to make him treat Itachi Uchiha as us, and then. Oh, it turned out to be like this. Naruto nodded heavily, and then there was no more text. Seeing this situation, Qin Yu rolled his eyes. Then he yelled to Naruto, I said, don't you have anything to say to me? Huh, Naruto scratched his head and replied without knowing why, No. Chin-yu was taken aback for a moment, really riding a horse as a strange flower. There are very few such strange flowers now, so I will consider myself unlucky. Maid. Although Chin-yu had been comforting himself, the more he thought about it, the more angry he became. Arriving behind Naruto is just a kick, kicking him out directly. His power control is so exquisite, the destination of Naruto's flight is directed at Itachi and Ghost Shark. Naruto, who was in the air, suddenly wailed and cursed, "Chin-yu, you fool." Chin-yu smiled and shouted, "If you don't want to be killed, just think of a solution by yourself." Kakashi just rolled his eyes and said, "Making a fool." Chin-yu shrugged his shoulders indifferently, and said indifferently, "Don't worry, Naruto is not that weak." Sure enough, people can still explode into a small universe in a difficult situation, not to mention the nine-tailed man Zuli Tien Naruto, who is the son of destiny. Seeing the enemy getting closer, Tien Han Naruto gritted his teeth, and he just rubbed out a ball while flying at high speed. Seeing Naruto's helix pill while flying at high speed, the ghost said in surprise, "Huh. This kid has some abilities." He had to dodge in an instant subconsciously, and with his skill, it was not difficult to dodge this blow. But looking at the injured Itachi next to him, he hesitated again. Even with this moment of hesitation, he also completely lost the opportunity to evade. If you want to put the water on the wall, there is no time. In desperation, he had to attach a layer of chakra to the long knife in his hand, and then raise the knife holder to the spiral pill that fell from the sky. Itachi hesitated for a moment when he saw the ghost shark, and was secretly delighted. He was even ready for the two of them to cool off together, and to be seriously injured at the same time. Never thought that Guiyu still had such a hand. Chin-yu, who was on the side, saw this scene and his expression became even more exciting. This Uchiha Itachi teammates are gods. There used to be the strongest warrior, the Loquat 10 Tibetan sword, which cut the tail beast jade of the 4 generations of water shadows, and now there is the dried persimmon ghost sword to cut the Naruto spiral. This is the helix pill. If it is replaced with the big jade helix pill, the end of this product should be the same as the Loquat Juzo. Seeing Naruto actually break through himself in this situation, Kakashi was also taken aback suddenly. He really didn't expect that Naruto, the Iron Man, would be able to make a spiral pill in a high-speed flight. He really didn't expect it. Crack, click. At this time, a crisp cracking sound suddenly sounded. Many cracks suddenly appeared on the surface of the sword of the ghost shark. Nani? This technique. In the shocked eyes of the ghost shark, the crack grew bigger and bigger, until the big knife was completely broken. Breaking the big knife consumed a lot of energy in the spiral pill. Despite this, he still had extra energy and continued to rush towards the two. Hateful. The ghost shark cursed secretly, and in desperation, he had to grab it quickly and flashed away from the place. But Helix Maru was too close to them just now, so it was inevitable that both of them suffered some bruises. Hi. After Naruto succeeded in hitting his hand, he finally fell to the ground. Seeing that the two of them were pushed back by myself, I suddenly felt confident and rushed up again. Kakashi panicked and hurriedly shouted, "Naruto." Chin-yu shook his head and said helplessly, "That trick just took advantage of it. It seems that it gave him confidence." As soon as he finished speaking, Chin-yu suddenly twitched the corner of his mouth, and said with a wicked smile, "This blindness and arrogance will never be corrected if he is not beaten a little bit. The ending is really miserable." The physical strength of Naruto was changed qualitatively after he learned the fairy technique. Before that, it was pure and simple. Even if it was called Shengying's clone, it was useless. Tihanan Naruto was beaten back into the air as soon as he was beaten by the iron fist of the ghost shark. Bang! In the end, Naruto threw a fart thump in front of several people, extremely embarrassed. "How come you guys, two of you like to shoot people away?" Oppositely, Itachi was covering the wound of his arm and did not speak. As for the ghost shark, looking at the appearance of Itachi at this moment, a deep apology rose in his heart again. It seemed that he had made up some determination, then he turned his mind and said in a deep voice, "Don't worry Itachi, this time I will be the main attacker." Itachi patted the ghost shark on the shoulder and said with an expression that, "I am optimistic about you, then I will leave it to you ghost shark." "Okay." The ghost nodded heavily and said, "In this case, it is better to create a terrain that is beneficial to me first. Water escape, burst of water and waves. I saw the ghost shark's hands folded together, spit out an overwhelming stream of water from his mouth. The flow of water directly transforms a radius of hundreds of meters into the ocean. Seeing that the ninjutsu power displayed by the ghost shark was so powerful, Kakashi couldn't help but said with emotion, "This person's water escape is really terrifying. He can create such a powerful current in this waterless land. Looking at the ninja world, it should be comparable to the second generation of Naruto masters." Just as Kakashi sighed, Ona's water ninjutsu had also been completed. Jia Jia Jia. Looking at the fully formed water world, the ghost shark grinned, and suddenly said to the people of Konoha with a little confidence, "Guys of Konoha, next, you guys will enjoy it for me." Water done. 5 Eating shark. The ghost shark's right hand plunged into the water under his feet. With the release of his chakra, 5 sharks formed in the water instantly. With a swing of the shark's tail, it rushed towards Kakashi in a vicious manner. Seeing this, Kakashi reminded him loudly, "Be careful." Chin-Yu curled his lips and said, "Huh. Shui done. Master, I make you look good." Immediately afterwards, Chin-Yu directly inserted his hands into the water. In the next second, endless thunder light suddenly burst out of his hand. Lei Dun Lei Dongtian. With Chin-Yu's soft drink, Lei Guang became more and more prosperous. Seeing the thunder dance ninjutsu performed by Chin-Yu, Kakashi's face was full of shock, and he murmured, "This is the trick of his father." Skoye. Sakura and Naruto also said with horror at this time, "What a powerful thunder dun is far more terrifying than Kakashi-sensei's rage." The powerful thunder and lightning entered the water, and the 5 sharks summoned by the ghost shark were instantly destroyed. Not only that, the extremely powerful electric current runs along the water on the soles of the feet and directly rushes towards the ghost sharks and ferrets in the distance. Nani? This guy. Guiyu obviously did not expect that his water escape would one day be broken in this way. Seeing the approaching radio waves, he and Itachi looked at each other. In the next second, the two rose into the sky at the same time. Boom! The strong current slammed into the place where the two of them stood before. "Ha! It's so risky." The ghost shark in midair also said fearfully at this time, "It's really a powerful move. Don't sigh, let's think about how to land for a while." Itachi said coldly. However, Guiyu didn't take it seriously, and responded without fear, "What are you afraid of? Can he still maintain this trick? How much chakra would it cost?" And many more. In the next second, the ghost seemed to suddenly remember something. "This man seems to have so many chakras." Just finished speaking, he looked down immediately. Sure enough, after the two soared into the sky, Chin-Yu did not give up chakra output. The violent thunder and lightning have been spreading in the water, just waiting for them to fall down. The corners of Guiyu's mouth twitched. This time, he was really clever but was mistaken by cleverness. Kakashi looked at the sea full of thunder and lightning, and said with emotion, "I can think of using Thunder Dun to deal with Shui Dun, really very thoughtful. But there are so many chakras for this kid, and he has been able to maintain his father's ninjutsu trick." At this time, Sakura, who hadn't spoken, suddenly said, "However, if this happens, this dry persimmon ghost will be embarrassed." Hearing that, everyone's faces were filled with ill-intentioned smiles. The ghost shark, who was in midair, finally recognized the reality, and asked in a flustered manner to Itachi, "Do you have a way, Itachi?" Itachi shook his head and said directly, "No. It would be great if I could use Susanoo, but limited by this body, I can't use the kaleidoscope to write round eyes." In fact, Itachi has a way, because this guy will escape. He could directly use the earthen ninjutsu and set up an earthen wall to support the two of them. Even if they would be destroyed by Chin-Yu's Thunder Dunge, they could completely take advantage of their strength to fly again. But Itachi pondered carefully, why did he want to do that? Isn't it good to hang up quickly? Wei Yao's face is very ugly, this guy is really only going to escape, and nothing else. At this time, the two had rushed to the highest point and began to fall uncontrollably. They are high in the sky, and they have nowhere to take advantage of it. In that case, let's fight it. With a bite of his teeth, the ghost shark swallowed his heart and made up his mind. Although the body is falling, in the process of falling, the ghost shark directly begins to seal. Water done the technique of water shark bombs. With a thought on the ghost shark, he tried to mobilize the ocean he created under him to help condense the shark bomb. However, no matter how he pulls it, he can't respond to the water flow on the ground. Those currents are not moved at all. Nani? Guiyu was shocked. But soon, he reacted. It's Qin Yu. It was Qin Yu's Lei Dun who suppressed those currents, so that they are no longer under their own control. After learning the truth, the ghost shark directly cursed with anger, asshole. However, swearing alone cannot solve the problem. The ghost shark had to make full use of his chakra, recondensing some water in midair, and it was difficult to converge into a shark bomb. Qin Yu saw this wave of operations by the ghost shark in the air, smiled immediately, and took Lei Dongtian back casually. In the next second, I saw his hands quickly forming seals. Water done the technique of water shark bombs. Qin Yu unexpectedly released a ninjutsu exactly like the ghost shark at this time. And this ninjutsu, he copied it with Shilulanyan the last time he fought with the ghost shark. Boom! With his loud shout, the ocean on the ground instantly surged. Soon, a huge water mackerel bomb was condensed. In terms of size, Qin Yu's water mackerel bomb is more than twice as big as that of the ghost mackerel. And more importantly, there are flashes of thunder arcs in his water mackerel bomb. That was the thundering sky, before it has not completely dissipated. Now, this trick is also blessed. Seeing this scene, the ghost shark in midair burst into a swear word in an instant. At this moment, he was very angry, very regretful, and very painful. Because the reason why Qin Yu was able to create such a big momentum was because of his light. If it weren't for the large swath of water he released before, Qin Yu Guang would condense with his chakra, absolutely not the current momentum. Guiyu's heart is desperate. What's the situation now? The water mackerel bomb on the opposite side is the ancestor of the water mackerel bomb of me who stepped on a horse, right? Is this a water mackerel bomb? Or is it a big shark bullet? Boom! In the shocked eyes of everyone, two water mackerel bombs, one large and one small, slammed into each other. As a result, there is no suspense. Facing the larger water mackerel bombs under the blessing of Lei Dun, under the double suppression, the water mackerel bombs of the ghost sharks collapsed at a touch. Even Qin Yu's water mackerel bombs that defeated the ghost shark didn't cost much power at all. Continue to crash into the ghost shark and Itachi with extremely strong power. It's awful. In an instant, the ghost shark's face was like ashes. But the Itachi beside him was ecstatic at this moment. However, in order to act like a bit, this guy decided to make a symbolic gesture. I saw him, forcibly enduring the pain on his arm, making the mark with great difficulty. Art fire escape ho fireball. A fireball, not too big or too small, sprayed out from his mouth, pointing directly at the oncoming water mackerel bomb. At this moment, the corner of the ghost shark's mouth twitched. Immediately, he looked at the ferret next to him with a slightly painful expression, with an expression of, people use water to escape, you use fire to escape, you were riding a horse to make me funny. Ah, Itachi sighed deeply, no way, I am good at Huo Dun. Oh, hearing this reasonable explanation that it can no longer be reasonable, Guiyu had nothing to say. In the end, Itachi's fireball was completely wiped out without even splashing. Boom! In the end, the oncoming water mackerel slammed on the two of them. Puff! The powerful impact caused the two of them to spout a mouthful of blood at the same time. Immediately afterwards, the Lei Dun in the water mackerel bombs also began to show off. Click, click, click. Many lightning arcs flickered around their bodies, causing powerful secondary damage to them. Puff! The two vomited blood at the same time again. Immediately afterwards, both of them died in the air, and the body fell rapidly from the air, and finally fell directly into the water. Awesome kid. Kakashi couldn't help but praise the opponent who was completely silent. In this battle, whether it was strength or combat consciousness, Qin Yu was almost a crushing posture. The opponent, it can be said that there is no room to fight back. Tamari looked at Qin Yu's gaze, and it was also full of surprises at this moment. I really deserve to be my man, he is still that powerful. Naruto was very dissatisfied, and whispered to the side, what? My Helix Maru is obviously also very important. I haven't had time to make a follow-up. Well, Kakashi was laughed at by Naruto. Naruto did a good job this time, praise me. However, I always feel that something is wrong with those two people. Let's take a look. Yu said lightly. The corpses of those two people had already fallen into the water. Yu waved his hand casually, and the huge water flow directly separated a path. What an amazing water attribute chakra's control. Kakashi secretly praised. The more expert, the more able to see through the strength of others from the subtle. Several people came to the corpses of Itachi and Ghost, and looked at the two completely distorted faces, all in shock. Kakashi said in shock. What's going on? What's going on with these two? Although Yu knew, but he didn't bother to explain. Yoshi. Regardless, since the blockade is resolved, let's leave right away. We are very close to their base now. Immediately waved his hand and rushed out in the lead. Chong, go and rescue Gaara. The others followed. In the gloomy Akatsuki organization base, the slides of Itachi and Ghost Shark flickered. Seeing the slide body flickering, everyone's attention was attracted to the past. Can't it? You two have been delayed for 10 minutes. Deidara said incredulously. Yes, the previous battle was complicated, but in fact it was solved in less than 10 minutes. Seeing Deidara speak first, Feiduan also began to speak out loudly. Although this guy is not very reliable, but I always think Itachi is a master, why are you so useless? Jiaodu smiled coldly at this time, and then said, I knew it would be better for me to go. Enough, Tiandao shouted coldly, stopping these people from making complaints. However, he turned his head and asked in a deep voice at Itachi and Guiyu, you two, what's the matter? This shouldn't be your true level, right? Have I said before I leave, don't do it hard, try to delay. I thought you could at least delay for a short period of time, but now, 10 minutes. Although Pain is the leader of the Akatsuki organization, he does have the strength to be among the best, but he is very tolerant of the Akatsuki people. Before that, I really didn't say such a heavy word. Obviously, this time he was really angry. After all, it was a matter of collecting tail beasts, so he couldn't be careless. Moreover, when he said this, his cold eyes kept locked on Uchiha Itachi. Although Guiyu said all sorts of excuses beforehand, Nagato was still very relieved of him. But for Itachi, Pain is quite wary. In this situation, he has every reason to doubt Itachi. However, Itachi frankly met Tiandao's gaze, and said in a deep voice, the opponent's strength is really too strong, much stronger than we thought. Furthermore, my strength relies more on the kaleidoscope riding round eyes, which can't be used when turning around, it weakens too much for me. Humph. Although Itachi was telling the truth, Tiandao still snorted directly. Oh, Itachi, you don't have to carry around for me, I admit, it's all my fault. Guiyu glanced at Itachi gratefully. Seeing this, Itachi twitched his mouth and said nothing. However, no one knows. At this moment, his inner monologue is saying, sorry, brother never wanted to carry it for you. The upright man Ghost Shark suddenly turned around and explained to Tiandao, the leader, I was unprepared. I unknowingly fell on the opponent's Dao. He was hit by his illusion and treated Itachi as an enemy. Then cut it. After hearing Guiyu's explanation, Tiandao was so angry that the slide body flickered. This set of explanations of the Ghost Shark clearly memorized the pot, and Nagato couldn't say anything more. What do you do now, boss? Deidara yelled, should we send someone to stop it? What else can we do? Tiandao said coldly. We only have 2 living human carriers, which have already been used up, and now it is impossible to perform the art of turning the image. Moreover, they were not far away from us before, and they are probably about to arrive now. At this moment, Ju suddenly said in a strange way, be confident, you can remove Fee probably, they are already outside. Okay, everyone present narrowed their eyes at the same time. Outside, at this moment, as Ju said, Yu had led the team and finally rushed to the outside of this secret base. Kakashi squinted his eyes and stared, and asked, is this place? It looks like it's behind that big rock. Seeing the destination right in front of him, the impulsive Naruto yelled, then what are we waiting for, just rush in. Because the previous limelight was robbed by Yu, this guy wants to perform very much now. I saw Tai Hanhan Naruto casually rubbed out a spiral pill, and then screamed and rushed towards the huge cobblestone. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the seal on the cobblestone burst into a powerful light. When the light dissipated, the cobblestone was almost unscathed. Nani? Naruto was shocked. He obviously didn't expect that the powerful spiral pill would be nothing but a stone. If that's the case, use that one. Seeing this situation, Tihanan Naruto turned his heart, and simply separated a shadow clone, and began to brew Deu spiral pill. Kakashi immediately held his forehead speechlessly, and reluctantly caught up to stop him. After learning that the enemy's reinforcements had arrived outside, the atmosphere inside the base suddenly became a bit weird. At this moment, Xiao Nan, who hadn't talked much, suddenly said in a deep voice, "We are all illusions, we can't take action. Chief, what should we do?" Xiao Nan is a little worried. After all, in the entire Akatsuki organization, she is the only one who really has one mind with Nagato. Therefore, although Xiao Nan talks very rarely, she still speaks at the most critical moment. After hearing this, Daedala, who was very nervous and obsessed with self-confidence, shouted directly, "What should I do? What's there to worry about? You are not entities, I and Brother Xie are. With the two of us here, as long as the group of guys dare to come in, we will kill that Chinyu in minutes. Big Brother Scorpion, don't you think?" "Humph." The Scorpion of the Red Sand snorted coldly, and then confidently said, "Yes. Since they dare to come, then I will accept their bodies, just enough to supplement a few puppets." You too. Hearing these two people's arrogant words, Guiyu frowned. "All right," Tiandao on the side said coldly. "Scorpion, Deidara, if there is a fight later, you all be careful. Don't be careless." "I know the leader," Scorpion and Deidara reluctantly replied. However, what Deidara said also has some truth, and we don't have to worry too much, just continue to speed up the progress. There are two more tactics outside, especially the hidden second trap. Tiandao smiled coldly, his face was full of confidence. "Since you all brag about that Chinyu so powerfully, he was caught in that trap for a while, and for a while it was absolutely." Uchiha Itachi shook his head secretly, and said in his heart, "The self-confidence of mystery seems to be contagious. Now even the leader of pain has some self-confidence of mystery." Boom. However, before the words of Sundao hadn't finished, and before Uchiha's thoughts had completely fallen down, a loud noise suddenly rang out. Immediately afterwards, the base of Akatsuki's organization was shaken by waves. Akatsuki organized everyone to look at the gate of the base while being shocked. As a weird and sharp voice flashed, everyone in Shao organization was horrified to find that the huge boulder at the door was split in half instantly. A golden sword light with a length of 40 meters flashed quickly. This sword light was so magnificent that it not only forcibly broke the seal barrier, but also cut open the huge stone at the door. Not only that, but this sword light slashed towards the outer golem in the center with a powerful force. At this moment, as the leader of Akatsuki's organization, Nagato's face was completely pale. A second ago, he was still fascinated and confidently introducing to the members of the organization how reliable his methods can be, and it can be delayed for a long time. However, the result of the next second was that the barrier was forcibly broken open. This face slap came too fast and too cruel. More importantly, the angle of this sword light is extremely tricky. It didn't slash towards the crowd, but directly slashed towards the outer golem in the center. Moreover, because the speed of this sword was too fast, everyone had no time to react, and Nagato didn't react at all. Ouch! The huge external golem was instantly chopped by this magnificent sword light, and let out a painful wailing. At the same time, Akatsuki's sealing technique for extracting the tail beasts, one by one, the 9 magic dragons, was forced to stop. So far, the one-tailed chakra has just been drawn in half. But what is even more frightening is that the tail beast chakra in the outer golem shows signs of spillage. Looking at the chaos in front of him, Tien Dao's face was gloomy. At this time, the ghost shark also suddenly said with a heavy face, "Such a terrible attack, it must be that Chinyu." The other members of Akatsuki's organization were silent, and they didn't know what to say at this time. Originally, they dismissed Chinyu and the others, but after this sword was passed, they did not even look down upon it at all. On the contrary, everyone's heart has a trace of jealousy. Such a terrible attack, even in the powerful Akatsuki organization, few people can send it out. As soon as this sword came out, not only the Shao organization inside the base were astonished, but even the people outside were also quite shocked. Kakashi looked at Chinyu, who was directly demolished, and said in shock, this. Kakashi didn't know what to say. Originally, he stopped Naruto because he was afraid that Naruto would forcibly attack the seal, and in the end he would suffer a counterattack or fall into other traps in the seal. At the same time he also prepared him how to crack this seal. However, at this moment, he never expected that Chinyu would also forcefully break the 5 barriers directly with violence. This is really. Seeing everyone in a daze, Chinyu said directly, "Let's go, don't be in a daze." Inside the base, it took Tiandao a long time to recover from the shock. Looking at the badly wounded golem, and then at the one that was interrupted, his face was extremely ugly at this moment. But after all, he is the leader of the organization. At this time, he must remain calm. Everyone, although I didn't get one tail completely this time, about half of the chakras were also selected. You have worked hard, and I will notify you if I have something to do. In addition, for this Chinyu, everyone must be careful. Now, except for Scorpion and Deidara, there is no way to leave. Everyone else should immediately release the magic lantern body technique and don't expose their identity to the enemy. Tiandao deserves to be the leader of Akatsuki's organization. This is almost the best way to deal with it. However, at this time, the flying section on the side yelled dissatisfiedly, "What? The organization's plan has been so ruined. Why don't we just forget it?" Hearing that, Tiandao looked at him and asked coldly, "Otherwise, what do you want? Our body is not there, and it is impossible to fight with this body. It's so decided, and it will be executed immediately." Yes, everyone responded in unison, and then the slides disappeared in place. In the end, only the magic lantern body of Tiandao remained. "You two don't try hard, find a chance to escape. I don't want to find new members." Humph. Deidara and Xie felt a slight contempt in Tiandao's words, and at the same time they snorted coldly. At this time, the entrance of the base was completely shattered, and several figures broke in one after another. At exactly this time, the magic lantern body of Tiandao also disappeared in place. He waited until the end to withdraw, just to see with his own eyes what the sacred Uchiha Chinyu was. "Chinyu, right, you are fine, I remember it." When Chinyu cast their gazes toward the center of the base, Tiandao's figure had disappeared, and only a word with a cold killing intent came from midair. "Cut." Chinyu just sneered and shrugged. "This is the one who hides his head and shows his tail." Behind Chinyu, Kakashi said in a deep voice, "This person's style of doing things is very cautious. Did you dismiss other people before we came in?" Humph. Chinyu snorted coldly, and then said with a smile, "Today, the Shao organization is destined to have 2 fewer members." At this time, Deidara and Xie, the remaining 2 members of the Shao organization, began to face off with the rescue team headed by Chinyu. Naruto on the side was stunned again at this moment, and yelled directly at the 2 people in front of him. "Hey, you 2 fools, quickly hand me over Gaara." Hearing this, Deidara was very upset and asked directly, "Little devil, who are you? Are you the Chinyu?" "Stupid Deidara," the Scorpion of Red Sand said coldly, "It's obviously not this kid, isn't it? The black clothes and the sword are obviously the front one. So that's it." Deidara woke up, nodded and said, "Then this bluffing kid is Nine-Tailed Julie. This guy doesn't look very smart." Hearing this, the corners of the mouths of everyone present twitched slightly. No way, Naruto's first impression seems to always be like this. "What?" After hearing Deidara's words, Naruto, who is Tihanan, directly furiously said, "You dare to underestimate me. With that said, you must rush forward." "Naruto." Kakashi hurriedly reached out to block his way, and persuaded, "Don't be reckless. Gaara is still in their hands." Naruto stared at him angrily. However, neither Deidara nor Scorpion paid any attention to his 9-tailed man Zuli. At this moment, their focus is only one, and that is Chinyu. Deidara stared at Chinyu, with a fiery warfare in his eyes. "Little devil, you are Chinyu. Did you cut out the sword just now?" Chinyu smiled coldly when he heard the words, "You are a kid, and your whole family is a kid." Chinyu was taken aback by Deidara. He didn't expect that the person who was blown away by Itachi and Ghost Shark turned out to be a bear kid. "Ha." The Scorpion of Red Sand also sneered. At this moment Deidara said in a somewhat unbelievable manner, Big Brother Scorpion, just this kind of guy, are we going to run away? Xie Lao smiled and said, how is it possible? The leader is too cautious. Well, with the support of the Scorpion, Deidara looked very happy. Then we will have a good time with him today. It just so happens that I also want to prove my art. Hearing Deidara say this, the Red Sand Scorpion directly retorted with dissatisfaction. Huh? Can your explosion be called art? Only eternity is real art. Deidara is also unwilling to show weakness. For the art he insists on, he retorted, huh? My explosion is art. The real art should be the most brilliant moment. Nonsense. Eternity is art. Kakashi's mouth twitched as he looked at the two people who suddenly quarreled in front of the enemy. What's this all about? Are these two people taking Gaara? Is there really no mistake? These two are simply too best. Just after playing with emotion, Kakashi thought about it and felt normal again. After all, can the guy who joins this dangerous organization be a normal person? Two people like Life Treasure quarreled for a while, and finally the more mature Scorpion stopped the topic. Okay, Deidara, we will discuss who is the real art next time. For now, let's get rid of these eyesore. Hearing that, Deidara also agreed and said, it makes sense, Brother Scorpion. Speaking of the battle, Deidara also became interested, and immediately said, however, this Chinyu must be handed over to me. Hearing that, the Scorpion was upset, and he retorted, nonsense. Feng Ying is your hand, of course this person should be handed over to me. Nani? Deidara was very dissatisfied and said, how can this work? Is Feng Ying comparable to this Chinyu? Hearing this, Xie furiously said, Deidara, do you mean you are going to eat alone? You have one arm missing, it's better to watch the game. Hey, are you looking down on me? I want to catch him and be a puppet. You bullshit. I want to beat him and prove that I am better than Itachi. Prove my art. All right. Scorpion was really annoyed by Deidara's quarrel, and after thinking of a way, he said, there will be no results if the quarrel continues. In fact, we can use this Feng Ying as a bargaining chip. Wonderful, Brother Scorpion. When Deidara heard the words, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he admiredly agreed, just do it. Ha ha ha. Xie smiled lowly. However, this time, before the two of them had any action, Chinyu had already moved. Kang tweeted. Two consecutive sounds seemed to be emitted at the same time. Scorpion and Deidara hurriedly took a closer look, and a sharp cold light was approaching quickly. Hee hee, what a quick-witted kid. The Scorpion of the Red Sand smiled coldly, but, is this the only level? Carrara, I saw the huge metal tail that was originally dragged behind by the Scorpion, but it suddenly swayed and stood in front of the two of them. Kang, there was a symphony of golden iron, and the sword of Thor slammed into the huge metal tail. The metal tail was knocked and flew upside down in an instant. This guy, what a powerful force. The Scorpion hiding in Fei Liuhu was also shocked by Chinyu's move at this time. However, what surprised him was not over yet. Saw. With the sound of a breaking wind, Chinyu's figure appeared above Fei Liuhu. Nani, Scorpion and Deidara were shocked at the same time. The distance between the two sides is at least 10 meters, how could this person jump over in an instant? That person, whether it's chakra volume, ninjutsu, illusion or physique, is absolutely top-notch. Even, he also masters the unpredictable time and space ninjutsu. Fight against him, and you will find that he is like a bottomless pit, always has a hole card. You can never see his depth. I don't know why, at this moment, Deidara and the Red Sand Scorpion had the same words that the Ghost Shark said before. This is, time-space ninjutsu. I really didn't expect that after the 4th generation of Hokage, someone else would have mastered this secret technique. Suddenly, Scorpion and Deidara believed in Guiyu's words. However, Chinyu, who had suddenly reached his face, obviously wouldn't chatter with them, and rushed directly towards Gaara who was lying on the ground. Ha, do you want to take people away like this? Then you are too naive, kid. After all, the Scorpion of Red Sand is a shadow-level powerhouse. Although he was shocked by this moment, his reaction was very fast. For the first time, he once again manipulated the metal tail behind him to stand upside down. The extremely sharp tail end, the gloomy light flickers. Towards Chinyu's direction, he stabs directly. According to the original book, this Fei Liuhu's tail seems to be painted with poison. Although he knew it, Chinyu didn't panic at all when he looked at the metal tail that was stabbing on his face. It could even be said that he didn't dodge or avoid it. He chuckled slightly, and stretched out his right hand directly. When Deidara saw this, she sneered directly, "Hey! What a brave guy, how dare to pick up Brother Scorpion's tail like this? Either he was stabbed to death, or he was poisoned to death. It's really boring. I thought there was a master who really did it for a long time." Ha! The red sand scorpion hidden in the Fei Liuhu, his face became a little gloomy at this moment. Is this underestimating me? Finally, in the shocking eyes of everyone, the metal tail of the scorpion and Chinyu's palm finally touched together. However, as expected by Deidara and Scorpion, the sound of the tail piercing deeply did not appear. Instead, there was a harsh electric current. I saw Chinyu's right hand stretched out, and I don't know when it was suddenly covered with a powerful thunderbolt. The huge metal spike wanted to penetrate, but it was completely unable to break through the blockade of Lei Dun. Deidara and Scorpion were shocked at the same time. Chinyu smiled slightly and shook his right hand suddenly. Unexpectedly, he took the initiative to hold the metal spike. At the same time, the thunder light in his hand suddenly became stronger. The current lightning can not only protect his hand from harm, but also be used to attack. The powerful current, following the huge metal spikes, directly led to Fei Liuhu's body. Not good. The scorpion of red sand is worthy of being a shadow-level powerhouse, and he noticed something bad at the moment of the thunder light. 8 waves of needles. I saw the scorpion of red sand quickly control Fei Liuhu to raise his head. Immediately afterwards, Fei Liuhu's mouth opened instantly, and after aiming at Chinyu, a large swath of ultra-high-density poisonous needles and thorns were spewed out. Seeing this, Chinyu sneered. With a slight force on his right hand, he dragged the huge metal tail in front of him and danced gently. Ding! Ding! When the large pieces of poisonous needles and stings were blocked by the metal tail of Fei Liuhu itself, and only a small part was not blocked. However, those who were not blocked were also picked up by Chinyu holding the sword in his left hand. However, although the poisonous needle was blocked, the red sand scorpion was not in the mood to be angry at all. The poisonous needles he released did not distract Chinyu at all, and the powerful thunder and lightning did not stop at all, rushing straight into Fei Liuhu's body. The extremely violent thunder and lightning, even through the hard and thick shell of Fei Liuhu, directly acted on the body of the scorpion. What? Inside Fei Liuhu, the scorpion of the red sand screamed loudly. Obviously, this blow caused him a lot of damage. Had it not been for his body had also been transformed into a human puppet, his ability to resist attacks had been much improved. Just one blow could cause him serious injury. But this is the case, and the scorpion of the red sand is furious. His face was cold, his fingers moved slightly, and he was about to unlock more of Fei Liuhu's seals. At this time, the red sand scorpion just wanted to smash this hateful opponent into pieces. However, before he could move, Chinyu had already moved first. I saw him throw the Thor's sword with his left hand, pointing directly at Gaara's side. Holding Fei Liuhu's tail tightly with his right hand, with a sudden force, Fei Liuhu flew directly. Nani! Within Fei Liuhu, the face of the red sand scorpion changed drastically. He never thought that someone could have such power. Can you pull Fei Liuhu directly? This Fei Liuhu itself is very heavy, there are various organs inside, and various equipment saved, and the weight is very staggering. For ordinary people, even dragging is impossible. Even the scorpion itself relied on the mechanism to urge it to move. Now, Chinyu could actually pull Fei Liuhu to fly with only his tail, how could he not shock the scorpion? Moreover, Fei Liuhu's mouth continued to spit out poison needles and stings. Now that Chinyu was suddenly dragged into the air, the direction of his spit suddenly changed. Coincidentally, it started to spray at the Deidara next to it. Brother Scorpion, are you messing around? Pay attention. Deidara was taken aback, and while yelling loudly, he hurriedly put a piece of dirt to defend. However, the scorpion just hurriedly stopped the poisonous needle injection to avoid accidental injury, and did not have time to pay attention to Deidara. Because Chinyu pulled once again, Fei Liuhu directly fell onto Chinyu's head at an extremely fast speed. Inside Fei Liuhu's body, the icy voice of the red sand scorpion heard, "Do you look at me with normal eyes? Do you really think the puppet master can't fight melee? Seeing Fei Liuhu falling rapidly, Scorpion decided to do everything. Let Fei Liuhu stick to Qin as much as possible. Then use the above mechanism to solve him directly. It's so close, how do I see you hiding? The red sand scorpion smiled coldly and secretly opened the mechanism in Fei Liuhu's abdomen. However, before the red sand scorpion had any action, Qin directly hit the sky with a punch. Bang! With a loud noise, Qin fist directly smashed Scorpion's Fei Liuhu. The extremely hard Fei Liuhu was completely vulnerable to a blow under Qin fist, and was directly blasted into 4 petals. The shattered Fei Liuhu instantly revealed the body of the red sand scorpion hiding in it. It was a young boy with red hair and a beautiful face. Qin pointed directly at the scorpion of red sand, and said with a sneer, "How about it? Do you still think you are good at melee now?" Fei Liuhu was smashed to pieces, and the face of the red sand scorpion was not so pretty. However, in his anger, he was still shocked at this time. Now that Qin mockery was heard again, his face suddenly became even more ugly, and he just gave a cold snort. This face was hit, really fast and timely. You know, Qin used a strange force with that punch just now. You know how powerful the strange power is, just look at Tsunade. Tsunade has made a reputation in the ninja world with this strange power and medical ninjutsu, especially in Sand Ninja Village. The ninjas of Sand Ninja Village are famous for being puppet masters and poison, but these 2 things can't achieve the slightest effect on Tsunade. Because Tsunade can smash the puppets with 2 random attacks of strange power, as for the poison, he can use medical ninjutsu to solve it, so the poison is useless. At that time, Tsunade was sitting on the border of the country of wind. With his unique skill, the village of Shinanhu was shocked by himself, did not dare to move lightly. And for this, Tsunade also won a title, Puppet Master Nemesis. Therefore, if Qin possesses such a strange power, if he can't smash the puppets, then he will be hell. As for poison, I'm sorry, I couldn't get into him just now. However, this is only a superficial phenomenon. In fact, the reason why he was able to smash Fei Liuhu with 1 punch was indeed because his strange power punch was indeed extremely powerful. However, another big reason is that he knows that there is a ghost face behind Fei Liuhu, which is extremely defensive. However, in Fei Liuhu's abdomen, the defense was relatively weak. Qin grasped this weakness, so he smashed Fei Liuhu with 1 blow. Seeing the red sand scorpion who gave his true body, Kakashi behind him said in surprise, "I didn't expect this puppet master to be so young. And I don't know why, how come I feel a little weird." Weird. The big Tai Han Naruto looked straight at the red sand scorpion, but he couldn't tell Kakashi and asked, "What's weird?" After thinking about it for a while, Kakashi said slowly and uncertainly, "I feel that this person doesn't seem to be of flesh and blood, just like a puppet. Not a body of flesh and blood." Kozakura frowned. "Wait, this man seems to be the traitor of Sunin Village," Kakashi said suddenly, and then looked at Temari next to him. At this time, Temari also frowned. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something, looked at the red sand scorpion in disbelief, and said suspiciously, "Difficult, is this? What's wrong, do you know something?" Kakashi asked hurriedly. Temari nodded and said, "When I was in Sand Ninja Village, I once heard some legends that there was a genius puppet master in the village. The most terrifying thing about him is that he can make puppets." Puppet. Kakashi frowned. Yes, human puppet. As the name suggests, it is directly made into a puppet. Moreover, it is said that it can preserve the secret technique before life and even the blood inheritance limit. Hiss. When Kakashi heard the words, he took a breath. Obviously, this kind of ninjutsu is too inside, it's a bit cruel. Make a living person into a combat robot. At this moment, the red sand scorpion, who had just suffered a loss, did not dare to stay in front of Qin any more at this moment. After seeing him snorted coldly, he quickly retreated. As a companion, Deidara laughed at this moment and said, "Ha ha ha. Brother Scorpion, you can't do this. You were so embarrassed by this kid." To shut up. The red sand scorpion's expression worsened as he heard Deidara's mocking words. Seeing the red sand scorpion retreating rapidly, Qin smiled slightly and did not chase. To kill, it must be killed. However, before that, he must first take back Gaara. Chin Yu's figure flashed and disappeared instantly. When he appeared again, he appeared beside Gaara. It turned out that Chin Yu had already made plans, and had already planned everything from the beginning. Before he attacked Fei Liuhu, he threw the Thor's sword at Gaara's side. For this moment, after pushing back the red sand scorpion, he came directly to Gaara's side, dragged him up and carried him behind him. This set of operations angered Daedalus next to him. The distance between the two is very close. However, Chin Yu dragged Gaara so grandly, completely ignoring Deidara's existence. Deidara, who has a strong sense of victory and self-esteem, suddenly became furious. Dare to ignore me? Humph! I saw that he quickly stuffed a lump of clay into his mouth, chewed a few times with his mouth, and directly spit out a spherical clay. It is Deidara's signature trick that explodes together. Deidara sneered and threw the detonating bomb in his hand at Chin Yu. A mouth on his hand. Naruto, who had been staring at Gaara, said in shock. Even Kakashi, Sakura, and Temari were shocked at this moment. However, this expression of everyone is also normal. With a long mouth on the hand, it makes your scalp numb when you look at it. Seeing this, Chin Yu couldn't help thinking, if he let them know that there was still a mouth on the chest of this guy, he didn't know how he would feel. Looking at Chin Yu, who was scared by his own operation, Daedalus smiled slightly. Seeing that the detonating bomb had approached Chin Yu, his right hand quickly pointed to his chest and shouted, "Blast!" Bang! In an instant, the detonating bomb in midair exploded on the spot. Seeing the detonated successfully, Deidara's face showed a hint of joy. However, he did not relax his vigilance, but stared at the location of the explosion with his eyes. After 3 seconds, the smoke disappeared. Deidara's eyes widened suddenly for no reason. Just because there was only a deep pit where the explosion occurred, and there were no figures of Chin Yu and Gaara. He hurriedly looked at the positions of Kakashi's people. As expected, Chin Yu was handing Gaara behind him to Haruno Sakura. Whispering sound. Deidara curled his lips and said dissatisfiedly, "Is that the mysterious time and space technique again?" Deidara was right. Chin Yu avoided the blow just by using the Flying Thunder God technique. He used the Thunder God mark that he quietly carved behind Naruto during the battle. It was through the mark of the Flying Thunder God that he returned to the original place. Good job, Chin Yu. Seeing Chin Yu snatched Gaara back cleanly, Kakashi couldn't help but give a light compliment. Temari hugged Gaara distressingly, and his gaze at Chin Yu was full of gratitude and love. And Kozakura, who has been only dragging her legs, finally became reliable at this moment. When the medical skills were activated, Haruno Sakura hurriedly checked Gaara. But soon, her brows frowned. Gaara's current situation is a bit weird, his breath is very weak, but other vital signs are completely normal. Although there are some signs of bombing wounds on the body, they are just skin injuries. Obviously that is not the fundamental problem. This made Sakura completely unaware of where to start to treat Gaara. Seeing this, Chin Yu's mouth twitched unnaturally. Wipe, this guy can't even save people, can it? Is this a medical ninja? Have you learned this from Tsunade? Shaking his head helplessly, Chin Yu completely gave up on Shao Sakura. After all, you still have to do it yourself in the end. In fact, Gaara's current situation is not too complicated, and there is no life-threatening danger. You should know that in Naruto, both the 9-tailed human column power and the 8-tailed human column power were once the tail beasts being pulled away. For example, in the 4th Ninja World War, Yang Juwei from Naruto's body was taken away. In the end, Yin Juwei, who was transferred to the 4 generations, was able to save his life. The 8 tails are even more amazing, the entire 8 tails have been taken away. Only one horn was left for Kurabi, and Kurabi's life was saved. Gaara nowadays is just a chakra with half taken away. It can be said that there is no big problem. This situation is only because the seal on Gaara's body was torn open by the people of Akatsuki's organization. Because the seal was destroyed, the state of one tail in his body was very excited. Gaara's consciousness was completely suppressed, and this was why he couldn't wake up. So if you want to save Gaara, you just need to reattach the torn seal on Gaara. However, Chin Yu didn't know how to seal Sharon Village. It would be a little troublesome to add his own seal technique again. The most straightforward way is to directly break the seal of the Sand Ninja Village completely. Then he was putting a brand new seal on him again, so everyone was happy. Thinking of this, Chinyu started directly. I saw him straight open Gaara's clothes, revealing the broken seal on his abdomen. Across this seal, Chinyu seemed to have seen a manic Shuhei in Gaara's body. However, even if Shuhei was mad, it was impossible to frighten Chinyu. "You, what are you going to do?" Temari was startled. Chinyu faintly replied, "What do you do?" "Of course it is to save him." Haruno Sakura asked in a daze, "When did you learn medical ninjutsu?" However, Chinyu answered Haruno Ying's question without lifting his head. "You have been checking for a long time, and you should have discovered it. The root cause of his inability to wake up is not the wound." "I found out, but what is the source of the problem?" Kozakura frowned. This time, Chinyu didn't answer her, but waved his hand to everyone and said, "Stay back, I want to start pretending." "Ahem, I'm going to save him." Chinyu's hands quickly formed seals, and he began to perform the unsealing secret technique of the Whirlpool clan. Solution. After Chinyu Jaeyan was finished, he shouted, chakra surging on his right hand, and slammed the seal on Gaara's abdomen. Click, 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 the mechanical sound rang, and Gaara's seal was opened little by little. Kakashi was shocked the moment Chinyu said, "Explanation," and he didn't understand what the operation was. However, he trusted Chinyu 200%. Immediately, he didn't think too much, and directly led Naruto Sakura and a few people to stand in front of Chinyu, guarding against the enemy on the opposite side. However, in the next second, behind them, there was a loud roar. At the same time, a huge chakra is about to burst out. This is troublesome. Kakashi's back was directly saturated with cold sweat. This guy seems to have unlocked the seal of Fengiying. What is he doing? Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Daedala and the Red Sand Scorpion on the opposite side were completely stunned by this operation at this moment. At this time, they did not understand Chinyu's intention at all. The gaze of the Red Sand Scorpion kept staring at Chinyu. And Deidara said nonchalantly, "Brother Scorpion, don't be so nervous, I think he is purely dying. This is just our chance. Taking this opportunity, we kill these guys first, and then bring back the half and one tail, which is considered to have done a great job for the organization, killing two birds with one stone." Quote. The Scorpion of the Red Sand also felt that Deidara's words were reasonable, but he said vigilantly, "What you said is quite reasonable, but you can't care about it now. This guy is indeed a bit evil." HMPH. Daedala curled his lips. As the two said, they had already begun to prepare. Deidara started to eat the clay, and the Red Sand Scorpion took out a brand new scroll. Deidara couldn't wait, and asked bluntly, "Brother Scorpion, shall we do it now?" The Scorpion of the Red Sand smiled coldly and said slowly, "No hurry, it's not too late to wait for the tail to come out." However, Deidara became a little worried at this time, and asked, "But, what if he puts a new seal in an instant?" "Then you think too much. Reseal the tail beast. How can it be so simple? One tail will not miss such a good opportunity." Roar. Gia Gia Gia. Just as Deidara and the Red Sand Scorpion were talking, another roar came. Even a big paw on one tail has already protruded from the seal. However, Chinyu was completely unhurried about this. His thoughts moved, and in the next second, his mental power had once again appeared in Gaara's seal. At this time, Yiwei's seal was almost completely destroyed, and Yiwei Shozuru was about to rush out completely. Seeing someone rushing in suddenly, he stopped at once. As soon as he saw clearly who the person was, he was startled for a while, and Chakra suddenly became confused. "Yes, it's you." One Shuhei saw Chinyu, and his whole body was square. "You, what are you doing?" Shuhei touched his head awkwardly with his paw. Chinyu smiled slightly and said, "Me. I'll strengthen the seal." "Ah." Shuhei let out a scream, and then said miserably, "My chakra has been taken away by half, I want to go out and take him back quickly." "Ha ha." Chinyu sneered, "Retake chakra. It's up to you. I think you should save the province. You can't beat the two over there, not to mention there are so many people in their organization." "No, I can't beat you. But it's okay to beat others." One-tailed Shuhei, who is a little confused and confident at this moment. When Chinyu saw this, he sneered and said, don't be stupid, the purpose of their organization is to gather all the 9 big-tailed beasts. You don't know this, right? Do you think I am here to stop you to harm you? Actually, this uncle is saving you, do you know that? Gather the 9 big-tailed beasts. Shuhei was startled at first, and then he thought about it. In this monster that wants to seal himself, it seems that there really is the aura of the other 2-tailed beasts. Do they really dare? How dare they do this? So, now you know how dangerous it is outside. Chin-Yu curled his lips and continued. You are going out now, you are basically throwing yourself into a trap, and you will be taken away in minutes. On the contrary, if you stay in this guy's body obediently, you can be safer. After all, this guy is Feng Ying. Yitali's eyes widened suddenly, obviously because Chin-Yu said that he was a little moved. However, after a while, it began to shake its head, just like shaking a rattle, and said while shaking, No, it's not safe to follow this guy. I don't want to follow him, if I have to, why don't I follow you? You become my man Zuli. When Chin-Yu heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched unconsciously. Yi Mei didn't seem to see Chin-Yu's changes, and the more he spoke, the more excited he became, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt that this was an extremely reliable decision. Yes, that's a good idea. You can become my hero. Now it was Chin-Yu's turn to shake his head like a rattle, and while shaking it, he refused and said, No. After hearing this, I became anxious for a while, and yelled, Why? I am very strong. I can definitely be your powerful help. Hearing this, Chin-Yu gave him a slanting glance and said, Is it very powerful? Why didn't I feel this? Quote. One tail suddenly choked, and it couldn't pick up these words. It is a little bit sad and angry now. Since the death of the old man, for thousands of years, when has Uncle Ben Yue asked the humble human beings to be his own pillar of strength? And also being disgusted. Even though I think about it, I really don't seem to be able to help others. But this is too shameful. In fact, Chin-Yu had a reason for rejecting One Tail. One Tail is really useless for him, it's completely tasteless. If it were Kyuubi, he might consider it. After all, as we all know, when the 6-way fairy split-tailed beast chakra is 1 tail for 1, 9 tails for 1, 2 tails for 1, 9 tails for 1, 3 tails for 1, 9 tails, 8 tails for 1, 9 tails for 1. And for Gaara, the brother-in-law, 1 tail is a life-saving straw. At this moment, the other side of Chin-Yu was still wailing. But what is even more speechless is that this product has even broad acting skills. Please, take me away. I want to be sealed in your body. I will be caught here anytime. The corners of Chin-Yu's mouth twitched. How did you make the drama? The ninja world who stepped on horses owes you an Oscar figure. However, at this moment, the big mouth of One Tail kept blaring, and there was no intention to stop at all. Chin-Yu rolled his eyes silently, and then coldly shouted, Enough! Hearing Chin-Yu's anger, he quickly stopped his performance in a desperate manner. That's it, you just stay in this guy's body obediently. Chin-Yu directly commanded to a tail with an unquestionable tone. Since this guy can be a wind shadow, it means that his strength is not weak. If you can get along well with him and let him grow into a perfect Zuli, then don't worry too much about Akatsuki's people. However, Yasuo didn't seem to give up the struggle, and continued to say, But I still think you are more. To shut up. Chin-Yu rolled his eyes again, and said unceremoniously, If you force Lai again, I will smoke half of your chakra. Ahem. Hearing the words, Yue Shuhei coughed for a while, and then shut up on the spot. Seeing Shuhei finally shut up, Chin-Yu waved his hand casually and said, Put this guy's consciousness in. Oh, Shuhei sullenly agreed, letting in Gaara's consciousness that had been suppressed. I am. Gaara was obviously still in a daze at this time. Seeing Shuhei suddenly questioned, Shuhei. Chin-Yu, why are you here? Chin-Yu rolled his eyes immediately and said, Of course I am here to save you. Luo narrowed his eyes and said, Did the village ask Konoha for help? Harm. Chin-Yu waved his hand and said, It doesn't matter whether Sha Ren asks Konoha for help or not, it's mainly because your sister asked me for help. In fact, Chin-Yu didn't know what the situation was, but he always wanted face. So that's it, it's perfect. Amount. Gaara scratched his head, as if so, now this person is already his brother-in-law. Then, what's the situation now? Those guys grabbed me for one tail in my body. I felt it before, they took a lot of chakras away. Qin Yu nodded, and said with certainty, yes. They took away about half of the chakras, and they were forced to stop because we arrived. The current situation is that your seal is broken and I want to impose a new seal, but this guy doesn't want to follow you. Luo suddenly became a little dazed, and asked, what, don't you want to mess with me? Qin Yu shrugged his shoulders and said indifferently, this guy despises you as a person and wants me to be his person. So, regarding this, Gaara pondered for a while, and then said, Shuhei, I know that your life with me is not easy, and that you are lonely and long for freedom. If possible, I am willing to fulfill you. Even if, will lose my life. But, I am funnying, I can't die so easily, and I hope you can help me. Gaara's words are so sincere and powerful. Qin Yu listened to the side, and the corners of his mouth twitched. This guy enters the scene very quickly. This mouth is almost catching up with some silly. Gaara's words clearly shocked Kazuo Morizaru. Gaara's true feelings, coupled with Qin Yu's intimidation and temptation, made him completely moved. But it is a tailed beast, and it still retains the last trace of arrogance. I saw One Tail curled his lips and said to Gaara condescendingly, huh. Boy, for your sincerity, this uncle will stay in your body for the time being and save your life. Ha ha. Qin Yu raised his eyebrows, the eternal kaleidoscope opened in an instant, and his scarlet eyes were just a flick. The powerful pupil power instantly rushed into Shuhei's brain. Shuhei suddenly groaned, and his body suddenly shook. Immediately afterwards, its state instantly became sluggish. The power of the eternal kaleidoscope, it can't resist at all. Seeing this situation, Gaara's pupils suddenly shrank. It's amazing. It's all this time, what are you still pretending to be here? Qin Yu looked at a Shuhei, and said angrily, they are already people who have experienced life and death together. Let's work together now. Yes, I listen to you. For a moment dominated by Qin Yu's pupil power, the current one-tailed Shuhei was more behaved than any other moment, and he no longer dared to pretend to be an uncle. Moreover, thinking about it carefully, Qin Yu also made some sense. It and Gaara indeed, in a sense, have experienced life and death together. Qin Yu looked at the two of them, and said lightly, you two will have a good communication here. I will put a new seal on Gaara's body. After speaking, he turned his head and confessed to Gaara, I will give you the key in a moment. When you think the time is right, you can untie it and let this guy a little bit free. Yeah, Luo nodded heavily. In fact, Qin Yu also said this to Shuhei. The implication is, if you behave well, I will not treat you badly. He was really useful after hearing this, and his originally fierce gaze softened a bit. Qin Yu hooked the corner of his mouth and turned to leave. Shuhei yelled from behind, Master Qin Yu, what about my chakra? I will help you get it back if I have a chance. Qin Yu said directly without turning his head, what you have to do is to save your half of chakra first. After speaking, Qin Yu completely left this spiritual world. One Shuhei's big eyes stared at the place where Qin Yu disappeared, a trace of wisdom flashed in his eyes. Then he secretly said in his heart, is Qin Yu? Will he be the prophetic son of the old man? The blue-eyed boy who is laughing and calling the name of the nine-headed beast, etc., blue-eyed, it seems that this does not fit. Forget it, whether it is the son of prophecy or not, he is a magical boy, I hope you won't let me down. Immediately afterwards, the tail beast, who used to call himself uncle, actually started communicating with Gaara. Although his tone was still very blunt, he finally had a good start. After Qin Yu withdrew from the spiritual space, he immediately closed the seal and began to cast the seal of the 4 elephants. However, in reality, time has only passed 2 seconds. The time flow rate of the tail beast's spiritual world is completely different from that of the outside world. After a short period of time has passed in the spiritual world, the outside world has just passed about 2 seconds. Outside, after coming out of the spiritual world, Qin Yu quickly formed seals, and then slammed his hands on Gaara's abdomen. Seal of the 4 elephants. Success. As Qin Yu's voice fell, a series of mysterious runes formed on Gaara's abdomen, and finally disappeared. Although Qin Yu did it casually, it was many times stronger than the seal that Shino put on before. At least, even if one does not agree to cooperate, Gaara can have a good night's sleep. Gaara now doesn't have to worry about a tail running away while he is asleep. What's more, now Ichimi has agreed to cooperate. Coupled with the seal of the 4 elephants, it is extremely reliable. On the opposite side, Deidara glanced at the red sand scorpion next to him with some pain, and asked, "Big brother Scorpion, that kid, it seems that he has sealed one tail again." The face of the red sand scorpion was a bit ugly. He had suggested to wait for the tail to run away before doing it. Now that one tail has been sealed without any waves, he is extremely embarrassed at this time. I don't understand what this idiot is doing. I don't even know how to grasp such a good opportunity. Or, we underestimated the little demon named Chin Yu. He might have overpowered him in an instant. Scorpion frowned and said his guess. HMPH. Brother Scorpion, don't scare yourself. I tell you, absolutely impossible. Deidara said arrogantly. He is a kid, can he have such great ability? It must be the one who was scared by us before, knowing that we were going to catch it, so I didn't dare to come out. Quote. When Deidara said something, the scorpion also believed a little bit. Since the seal has been completed, it is useless to say it, so prepare to fight. I want to know this Chin Yu. See if he is as strong as the rumors. Soon, Gaara, who had been lying on the ground in a state of insight, slowly opened his eyes. Gaara. When Tamari saw his younger brother opened his eyes, his excitement was beyond words. Sister. Gaara whispered. Hey, just wake up. Tamari was so excited that it was really rare to hear that this younger brother took the initiative to call her sister. Sakura saw that Gaara had really been rescued, and looked at Chin Yu in shock. Then he secretly said in his heart, what on earth is there that this person does not know? Naruto was also very happy and pulled Gaara up from the ground. After Gaara got up from the ground, I looked at Chin Yu gratefully and said, Chin. Huh. Chin Yu glanced at him sideways. Amount. Gaara looked at Chin Yu's eyes, his eyes flickered, and immediately changed his words, brother-in-law, thank you. Teju's face instantly turned red, and he glared at Chin Yu secretly. Chin Yu heard the words and slapped Gaara on the shoulder solemnly and said, that's right, young man, it's different to be a Funying. There is progress. Several people simply said a few words, and then Gaara turned around and looked at the scorpion and Deidara on the opposite side coldly. Seeing Gaara actually stood up and seemed to have regained his fighting capacity, Scorpion's face was a bit ugly. This kid really has some tricks, and he has cured this Funying kid. This is a bit of a hassle. HMPH. He was injured by me before, and now even if he stands up, he can still perform to a good level. Deidara smiled disdainfully and said, what? Brother Scorpion, are you scared? Ha ha, afraid. The scorpion of the red sand sneered, I don't know what fear is. All of a sudden, the two sides began an imposing confrontation. An even more terrifying battle is about to start. Seeing that the two sides began to confront the momentum, Chin Yu hooked his mouth, did not directly participate in it, and chose to be a quiet beautiful man. Naruto, Sakura, and Tamari are not very good at confrontation of momentum, or murderous confrontation. They haven't participated in a few battles in total, let alone murder. Their murderous aura is just like a joke. Gaara and Kakashi were releasing their own murderous auras and pressed against Akatsuki. Ha, even playing this kind of trick. Deidara curled his lips and said, Brother Scorpion, you should be the best at this kind of thing. Humph. Shie smiled coldly and said, dare to play with these things in front of me. It's really unpleasant to find myself. Just this poor murderess, dare to show off in front of me. Let me tell them what is really murderous. The red sand scorpion was full of killing intent at this time on an extremely beautiful face. A brutal murderous aura suddenly erupted from his body. In an instant, the murderous aura of Kakashi and Gaara was breached, and several people suddenly fell into an ice cave. How can it be? A cold sweat fell on Kakashi's face, and he said in shock, how many people must be killed to have such a murderess? Gaara was not feeling well, and I was all wet with cold sweat behind my back. He has killed many people since he was a child, and once before, his murderous aura has deeply shocked the enemy. But now, he was still shocked by the murderous intent of the red sand scorpion and sweated. It's really weak. Inside Gaara's body, one Shozuru curled his lips in disdain. After the previous exchanges, the two of them have been able to get along well. Seeing this, Gaara directly asked for help. You guy, Shuhei, help me. Ha, change me. With a cold snort, he suddenly released his own murderous aura. With the help of One Tail, Gaara and Kakashi once again have the upper hand. Okay. Feeling the sudden increase in murderous intent on the other side, the Red Sand Scorpion narrowed his eyes slightly, somewhat surprised. Hey hey hey, Deidara yelled and said, Brother Scorpion, you can't do this. You have been suppressed. Shut up, Shie yelled coldly, it's the one guy who made the shot. One Tail, Daedala was startled, and then laughed. Big brother Shie, find a reason and find a better one. You are treating me like an idiot like this. When I went to catch Feng 3 days ago, even in the most critical time, I didn't make a shot. You told me it shot now. Is it possible? Quote. The face of the Red Sand Scorpion was a little gloomy, and it was undeniable that Deidara had some truth in what he said. I don't know why this is. However, inside that Feng body, there is indeed a powerful murderous aura that suddenly broke out. Deidara curled his lips and yelled directly, so, Brother Scorpion, can you do it? If it doesn't work, let's just go ahead and do it. Humph. The Scorpion of the Red Sand snorted coldly, and then confidently said, only the murderousness, even the leader can't beat me. I just played only 60% of the level, let me crush them. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.